And we're live. And you're right. The what do you call it? The Upper Peninsula of Michigan is sometimes confused by some people as not part of Michigan. It's only really part of Michigan by a bridge and imaginary lines humans have drawn in geography. So I mean, it really is by declaration of where we define Michigan. Yes, the Upper Peninsula is part of it. It is also very, very far away from me. The Upper Peninsula is roughly, depending on where you go, 8 to 12 hours away, depending on which section you want to go to. So yeah, that's I've seen that discussion going on right here, and you're right. So welcome, happy Thanksgiving for all of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving here in the United States, and I guess you can celebrate it abroad too. Why not? I don't care. I don't have any problem with that at all. Everyone can celebrate Thanksgiving. Just eat turkey or whatever it is you eat. Tofurkey, if that's your preference, because I know that's what I have a handful of friends. They don't eat turkey. They eat the other stuff. So, and a couple of my staff are protesting eating turkey and eating pork loin because they don't like turkey. So yes, all of those things. I'm so indifferent on all that. Hit that like button early. I see 46 concurrent viewers. I had no idea. I forgot to do this yesterday, and I had no idea how many people would show up. And so I'm happy to see all of you here. I am a very early morning person, and I am here at the office at 7:30, but actually I usually get to the office before 7 a.m. I wake up every day at 5 a.m. Well, that's bad. Laptop tipped over. I usually set my laptop in the studio room, but I came right in here because I was caught up reading and doing my usual morning stuff at home. And then I hurried up. I'm like, oh, look what time it is. And drove over here and got my coffee. So my coffee started at 5 a.m. I continue coffee till around 8:30. So let's see, 1:37 p.m. I figured this will be happy and easier for my folks over in the UK and Europe abroad because it's not 1 a.m. when I usually do that. I know when I'm doing things late because they're a little bit further behind. So I'm really happy to see all of you, and thank you for all the Thanksgiving wishes. I will give it a few minutes before I dive deeper into a topic. But I will comment on things. Let me actually switch. I don't know what's in. I'm always scared when I open up my photos in case I've taken a picture or something that I shouldn't have. Yeah, I have a couple pictures. It's not that they're bad. I just can't really share check numbers I sent to someone I had to take a photo of. But I will admit, where did that photo? There's the photo I'm looking for. We don't want to forget the hot sauce. And Melinda's ghost pepper steak sauce is really good. I discovered this the other day, and I have been happy with this. Basically, if you had some of the steak sauce, and what's the good? There's A1, which is okay. There's that British one that I can't remember the name of it. I like a lot. It has kind of a combination somewhere between, but it's filled with ghost peppers. It makes my nose water. So that's oh, this is funny. Google thinks this is a face, and it found this face in here. So that's actually kind of funny. Google's face identification thing is creepy good. Creepy good. Let me see what happens when I click it. How many times did it find that? A lot. Wow. All right. Yeah, okay, that pulled up at least. It is mistaken it with photos of my ex-wife. That is hysterical. Anyways, I'll close that. But the ghost pepper steak sauce, definitely. Is it possible for the UniFi controller 6X to force a client onto 1AP? This is a common mistake, and I need to do a video dedicated to this topic. People don't know how 802.11r works. 2.1r. Hey, look, Cisco and Wikipedia. Basically, one of the problems with the way APs work is the client chooses. And there's a ton of articles you can find about this. The client goes, hey, client as in like your phone, and it'll keep wandering over to the AP it finds to be the strongest. Even with band steering and all those things, the client still decides what it wants to do. And it's just a pain in the butt. It's hard to get sometimes a client to force onto a specific AP. The solution is don't create a different SSID and say only attach to this one, and don't broadcast the SSID on another system. I thought about doing some demos on this, but it's just a problem, and it doesn't work as good. I know someone's going to say band steering, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. I live in the real world where I know how it works, and it doesn't work, I should say. So if you have a client you always want on a specific AP, you're probably going to want to create a specific SSID for it. That's just the best way to do it and make it work properly. I think there are some ways though, and it's not an issue I really have that often. Usually clients go to the strongest access point and roam properly to the next one. So it's not really been an issue. But I did say I'd talk a little bit about UniFi, and I always find it weird, and maybe I got to pull the video up. Where is it at? I did a video on, and here we go. And we're going to go right to the comments because I don't care if it's not the video. This is the mitigating security flaws. Someone had commented again on here. I don't understand what were they asking? This was another clever one. So this is basically how to adopt it with SSH and some of the adoption flaws. I wanted to address this. I don't know if it needs another video, but I probably should have included it in this video. But I like what David G said here. And David G is a frequent commenter over in here. So I don't know if he's here today. But you can tunnel from your computer for adoption. I thought that was kind of a neat idea, because then you could just use your SSH keys in your computer, build a tunnel, bridge it across. These might be some more lab videos I sit and do, just breaking down some of the different concepts for methodologies by which to do it. The other thing that was weird was I don't understand. Sometimes people ask me weird questions I don't understand. So if someone else wants to reply to some of those questions, because someone says, why didn't I change something that didn't need to be changed? And I'm like, what's wrong with the way I did it? And they're like, well, nothing, but I should mention some other way to do it. Sometimes I'm confused by all that. Anyways, I'm not going to dwell on that, but hey, Brett, good morning. I see Brett in here. What else do we have? Hey, Skip. Happy Thanksgiving. Awesome. 10:37 p.m. in Australia. Yes. All the way from the land down under. Does anyone in Australia call it the land down under? Is that completely a U.S. thing? One thing I love is dealing with international audience and clients as well, is finding out whether or not something is just something said here or something said abroad. And I think that's always something interesting to learn. So anyone from Australia, do you call it the land down under, or is that just something those goofy people in the United States say? Just curious. Do I stay with the UniFi Gen 1 or go Pro Gen 2? I like the Gen 2, but I don't know what your budget is. This is a series of videos I'm working on, and specifically about building your home lab. And one of my big recommendations for building a home lab is going to center around being much more platform agnostic. I'm going to try and find a couple different old switches and bring them in to talk about. And I think when you're building a home lab, one, the learning experience is better if you don't have a homogenized network, because you learn on more equipment. I actually agree with that a lot. So it kind of comes down to what your budget is. Does your budget allow for the nicer switches? I like the nicer ones. I have the money to buy them. I don't know that someone else does, so I'm very careful to recommend some things like that. It's also, the the thought that I hate other more expensive switches. This actually came up, and I realized I may be giving that impression because I focus more on generally affordable things, but I don't think the devices, and we've got clients that are running Meraki and are happy with it. They don't mind paying the license fees, so there's not a reason for me to go sell them on something else. They're not asking, can we save money? We told them we can save money in it, and they go, we're happy. We go, okay, moving on to the next thing that we're going to work with you on. They work. There's not a problem with their Meraki network. I also don't do a lot of videos on Meraki because I just don't know what interest there would be. Meraki has all the support they need. They're not something that is probably going to be really popular on YouTube. And most Meraki people know how it works or don't care how it works because Meraki takes care of how it works. So, but I do plan to do like some home lab videos, back to kind of what I was saying, where I cover some of those type of things. Craft computing. Yes. Me and him chat online and behind the scenes. He's very, very knowledgeable. Got some great information on his channel. Craft computing is great. I should do another video where I have one of his shirts and I'll wear the craft computing shirt. It was part of a birthday thing we did with him, and I should wear it more often. I like craft. Great guy. Yes, I know the home lab videos are definitely going to be more watched. And here's the thing. One of the questions that comes up a lot, or not questions, is questions I should say in the YouTube community, is who do I make videos for? And I think about this a lot because I know certain videos would definitely get more views, but they're not part of what I would say is my subscriber base. If I do a general audience stuff, and this is like if I were to review phones or something like that, that has a much more general audience appeal to it, so I know I get more views. Also, by the way, as much as all of you are going to cringe because I don't think you're the right audience for this, clickbait works. Clickbait gets views. Hands down. If I did more clickbait, if my only goal was not to build an educated audience, it was to make clickbait get views and cash in on YouTube revenue, clickbait would be the way to do it. Honestly, that is me and one of my friends who owns a media company. He did some A/B experiments and he's just appalled by, he really works hard to have a good news site. I won't name it because of what he did. It's funny, but he set some articles and put no information, but that way he could be the first to have articles. And by just creating a title and a graphic, and the only thing in the article was, it was a clickbait title. The only thing in the article was, we will put information here. He got the top position before the story was really fully released. And he didn't even put anything for the story. He waited until he had information for story and updated it later. He had thousands of shares prior to even having a content on it. Clickbait, man, people will grab it, they'll share it, they'll fling it all over the place, and you can get a lot of clicks, you can get a lot of ad revenue from it. And I just kind of avoid that. But the home lab stuff, I know I want to be very focused on because I believe people who start out in home lab, that's their career path to IT. And I've been thinking a lot about how I want to teach people. And one of my goals, underlying goals of the channel, it does bring business. There's no secret to that to my company, but I do love educating people. That is a really big thing. I like sharing the knowledge I've accumulated. I don't want to just keep it for me. I want to get more people into the IT career path, get them started. Home lab is probably one of the best ways, hands down, to do a lot of these things. Also, how does Tom even get all these videos done in terms of, setting up or how to use SSH to mitigate this? I have a lab. Even though the lab is not at my house, it is still the same concept as a home lab. Most of my stack is built out way more than my company actually needs to operate, because the lab is what allows me to build and test ideas. And I don't see enough IT companies with their own lab. I'm actually disappointed when I find out some of them have like no lab at all. I'm like, really? That's tragic. That was a discussion I had with a couple of RT people, and you see the very successful ones that do have labs and really dive into it a lot deeper. So I do want to do some of those videos, and I think that's going to be an important one. So yeah, the home lab one I'll be focused on and covering some more of that, but I'm always thinking about, how I want to do things and trying to keep my channel concise, because the temptation of clickbait is really, really there because I know it works. Do I know if the UniFi 8-port switch has SNMP? I know how to find out if the UniFi 8-port switch has SNMP. So we're going to go here to I have this zoomed in still. No. There we go. I think it does. I think all the UniFi switches have SNMP. Yeah. Right there, SNMP. So SNMP is in the switch. So you can turn on, and as far as I know, to my knowledge, it's in all of them. So that's, hopefully that helps. I did the video, yes, with G Suite and Office 365. Yeah, maybe I should reach out and talk to her about doing that. I haven't done one in a while. I thought about doing more. See, here's one of the challenges. People think someone made the assumption we don't do Office 365 as an MSP. I'm like, half of our clients are on Office 365. What I want to be very clear on, Tom doesn't do Office 365. It is a foreign territory for me. It is not my specialty. I have more than one employee that's quite good at it. I don't need to be good at it. I lack the desire to even use it. And so I don't do many videos on some of that. Do I think they'll be popular? Maybe. I don't know. That is one of the challenges, is I cover my knowledge and my other staff doesn't really want to do videos. So even though they're very knowledgeable and do this work every day, they're less interested in creating content. I don't blame them. That's not their thing. But yeah, maybe I'll find I need some other subject matter experts that I want to bring on, including the Office 365. And maybe I'll even have a couple people come on and just kind of dive into securing some of it and scripting some of it. My staff has definitely wrote and uses, PowerShell commands and things like that to help administer Office 365 and fill in gaps and things like that. So yeah, there's maybe some more content on that wouldn't be bad. I mean, I'm functionally aware how it works. I know the top-down view of it. I just don't know the nuances of some of the menus and things like that. Now, with so much going on with hosting and virtualization, a physical lab may not be essential. Well, let's actually break that down. I would not only say not essential, you take someone like my friend Xavier. Xavier built a career building labs and building things at scale for very, very large companies. Xavier did not even have anything more than a basic router at home. He builds cloud infrastructure. He built cloud labs. He actually finally got around. It's actually a video I did only a year ago where I was building a custom router for him before he even got something like pfSense in his own network. You can absolutely and affordably build things in cloud infrastructure, AWS, Azure, DigitalOcean. I got an offer code down below for DigitalOcean. But you can build out cloud and lab without having anything at your house. There's two different types of ways you want to do things. And for some people, and I don't have any problem with this at all, you put all your infrastructure in the cloud and you build out your lab and your ideas there. Matter of fact, a lot of the cloud infrastructure allows attaching it to GitHub. So it really kind of depends on whether or not you want to learn hands-on some of the physical side of it. Whether or not that matters is kind of mixed. There's people that seem to think everything is going to the cloud, and that's a misconception. Is the cloud stuff growing where people do things with outsourced infrastructure? Yes. Is the other stuff going away? It depends. It's not really going away. Matter of fact, some companies are doubling down on it because it makes more sense to have things warehoused internally. The cloud growth is probably faster than the internal growth, so you get the picture that it's shrinking. But this is the same way statistics fool you when you look at the iPhone, is my favorite example to use. iPhone loses market share every single year. Also, that's a true statistic. They are losing market share every year. The other statistic that's also true, every year they sell more iPhones than the previous year. So that sounds like it's contradictory. The market growth is faster than their sales. So you end up with this perception that they're losing market share, which isn't wrong because the market's getting bigger at a rate faster than their sales are going up. And the same thing's happening with a lot of, you see these cloud places ramping up because the demand is there, but there's still growth in the infrastructure market. There's a reason everyone's installing all this infrastructure all the time. It's just not growing at the same rate because for especially small businesses, there's a lot of people, that it just makes more sense to stick it in a hosting situation in a cloud. It's way more cost effective for them. It's allows them to scale out easier, especially if you're a startup company. And Huntress is an example of why they don't have their own data center, because when they land another deal that ramps up and expands, they just add to their cloud services. They load balance across spinning up more servers on demand in their infrastructure versus buying and procuring more servers, more equipment to expand the company. And when you don't know, because you're always hoping that next sale, the next 10,000, 20,000 endpoints is deal comes along, you need to scale with those. If you buy the hardware ahead of time and it sits there, well, that doesn't make any sense because now it's just idling. When you have as they call it, an elastic type agreement with a cloud service, you just ramp up more servers, spin up more processors, and now we can handle bigger load for a scalable product. So it really comes down to detailed planning and everything else. Office 365 is a pain in the butt. Yes, it is. That's why I have no desire to learn it. Do you have any videos that show how to set up a home lab and how your employees use it? The employees use the lab here. They do have their own home labs. They mostly do it for personal stuff, but because they use the lab here. I will be doing a video. I have how to get started with virtualization, but I maybe need to title it how to build your home lab and just cover all the things. Now I do have a video on, how did I title it? This is a good question. Rack build. Studio home lab rack parts and setup. And this video, it's got 73,000 views, but it doesn't have that many views. But this one right here, it's our studio home lab rack rails. And I guess I just need to title it how to build your home lab. And that's part of where I probably screw up, is not having the best titling on things. So, yeah, maybe I'll work on that and it'll get more views. Because if you type in home lab, I don't even think I come up anywhere. Matter of fact, there's, yeah, if I don't, I got to type it flat out home lab tour and I'll probably get it. Okay, show up. I'm just down here. Trying to see who has the most views on any of that. This person. How many subscribers does he have? So he's got 500,000 views on it, and okay, he's got 3 million subscribers. So that just lends it to more views when you have that many subscribers. So, anyways, am I still thinking about certs? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I'm just reading the questions over here. 2 SSDs in a cache and a pool will be set for RAID 1. Or 2 single I don't understand the question, Sebastian. Post in the forums. Detailed answers on that are complicated, and I don't feel like answering detailed questions that I don't understand. So I'll post in my forums the best way to get an answer on that. Any chance I'll do a UniFi next generation gateway pro video? No. Not a. I would be shocked if gateway, if any of their gateways get better. I just don't use them. That's my solution for their gateways. Multi-remote next generation. I use Ramia desktop, so I don't know why I would need this. What is this? So this is documentation. Main window. I don't. Oh, it just consolidate your things together. Is this a Windows program? Or is this Linux? Where's the download? I don't use Windows, so no, I don't use this at all. So, whatever, mremote ng looks interesting, but I don't use Windows. Back to someone asked the question of, do I use any, or do I plan on getting certifications? I'll at least address it. I don't know. I don't have a solid answer I can give you on that. So I've thought about it. It seems like, well, I should do this. And then I realize I don't care and I move on to the next thing. Because when I sit down to actually do it, I'm like, oh. So that's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that. But the UniFi gateways, yeah, I got nothing. I don't know. I am disappointed in their gateways. There's going to be a podcast, and we'll find out how much of it's on there because there was a glitch in the podcast tonight. But I think there's my rant about UniFi gateways and just UniFi in general, why we only use their pieces of equipment, specifically why we use like the UniFi access points and routing, or not routing, but and switches are awesome. And their gateways have had requests for 4 or 5 years that just are unmet. And I don't know what to say about it. That's why we don't use them. So the fact that they're coming out with yet another version, what are they going to add to it? Are they going to actually put it in proper? Are they going to actually load good VPN services? I doubt it. I have like very little faith, and I'm not going to talk about stuff in the EA store, but I have very little faith that they'll do it properly, just because they don't have a track record of doing it properly. I have no idea why. They have a massive war chest of money. They are sitting on oodles of money. They spent it on building a door access system rather than fixing their routing equipment. So I don't understand their strategy. It doesn't make any sense from where I sit, but it makes enough sense where they sit. They're sitting on a bunch of money. So the top of that money pile makes it look like a good idea to do door access instead of proper firewalls. Let's see. Is there any on-prem Cisco controllers? I don't know. Most all the Cisco stuff, it's usually revolves around Meraki. Use their controllers in their cloud. Matter of fact, UniFi's kind of alone in the market for having on-prem controllers. It's just not something a lot of people do. But I actually might reach out because someone from Cisco reached out to me. I didn't review their firewall at the time, and maybe I'll reach out back to them again. I think there's enough people asking about it. Matter of fact, we have a handful of clients just with some Cisco switches and things like that. I'll see what they'll send me and do some reviews on it, or maybe buy it myself and review it. I hate buying things that sit around. I like when they're given to me and they sit around. But maybe I'll buy them and give them away if I don't have a use for them. I don't know. I like when I buy stuff because then I don't have to disclose anything other than I bought this. I mean, whatever. I don't mind buying stuff and reviewing it. Maybe someone wants me to give it away to them. So maybe that'll be a good idea where I'll do a review, give it away. Because I don't like, and there's a few of the reviews are highly positive, but they right away tell you, full disclosure, this was paid for by Cisco. Cisco paid me to make this video. I turn down offers for paid videos all the time. It's something that just came up again the other day. And actually, I got a nice email back when I turned them down. They said they appreciated my integrity. I'm like, yeah, I don't do paid videos. Now, people can misconstrue that because, well, Tom, they sent you something. Isn't that like paying you? I guess it's really not, though. What it costs to produce a video, like in terms of what are paid sponsorships worth, if you want an idea, I think I can log into, hold on, change this and I'll show you. There we go. Put it back over here. Roughly, this is not an exact science, but this is Social Blue Book. And someone asked me, and I may do a sponsored video. Someone wants to sponsor it, and I've been working out that. That's sponsored video, but unrelated to what I'm reviewing. And that is a different type. So what a sponsorship means is, hey, this video is brought to you by blah, blah, blah company. And I've considered doing some of those, but I wouldn't be reviewing their product because if they're paying me to sponsor to make the video, you don't do that. Also, suggested sponsorship, even at my level, is over $1,000 to $1,600 per dedicated video. I've had offers higher than that to make a dedicated video about the product. And I'm only at 150,000. Once you get up there, 500,000, million subscribers, companies will pay you. And, you know, I actually kind of funny, Casey Neistat talked about this. He had one of his biggest deals was well over $100,000 for a 7-minute video, $100,000 to produce a video. This is one of those problems you have as a consumer, and I mean you, as in people watch YouTube, of when you see paid for, you don't know how much was paid. And when you're like, oh, cool, they must like this product, or were they paid $10,000 to review this product because they have 500,000 subscribers? Their love for the product, it may not face reality. This is one of the reasons I've tried to very strictly maintain the integrity of my channel, because I don't do YouTube as a living. I do YouTube as a hobby. My living comes from what happens outside these walls, running my business. So yeah, I want to be very clear on all of that. Let's see. Thinking of switching from G Suite to Office 365, same features, half the price. I don't think Office 365 is not half the price. I don't know where you get the numbers from that you think it's half. Office 365 is about the same price as G Suite, except you have to buy a spam filter. G Suite does great spam filtering. Office 365 does next to nothing. So if you move over to Office 365, and then you have to buy a spam filter, it actually ends up costing more than G Suite. So they're really close in price, though, for the basics. Whatever you want to use, though, I'm not here. I'm just here to tell the truth, not if you use whatever you want. We do that to our clients. Whatever you want to use. We prefer G Suite, but sometimes it does not a fit for what you want to do. And some people really require the Office product. And if you're buying Office licenses and using G Suite, that makes no sense to me. You may as well be in Office 365 at that point. I don't use any of the Microsoft Office products at this company, so yeah. Update to UniFi 6036 Wi-Fi networks don't show in mobile app. No idea. I don't use the. I've never used the mobile app. There's a mobile app for UniFi. Customers refuse to move to G Suite. Well, customers refuse because why would they? Do they have a compelling reason to? We don't push our customers over to G Suite forcibly at all. That seems like a bad idea. Why would you put them in an environment they're not familiar with, that they don't know? So we don't really throw them towards G Suite. We use G Suite if we use G Suite usually if they already use the Google services. We actually have some very large companies using Google services. And here, this is, where is it? Hold on. Pull up. Dig. Hold on. We'll pull this up real quick over here. My friends over at Huntress, they're a sizable company. They're doing, I mean, they publicly just got another 18 million in funding. They're not, I mean, that's not big. They're not the size of Google, but please note Huntress Labs using G Suite here. There's a lot of companies that use it, and it becomes, if it's part of the company's workflow, we leave them in G Suite because it's part of their workflow. That's the kind of the deciding factor. We're not going to force someone whose workflow is designed around Office 365 and using Microsoft Office products over to G Suite. Doesn't make any sense. So, any sales you care to share? We don't have a sale. Like, are you asking, like, do I have something on sale? We don't sell product, so not really clear on what sale you're asking about. I'm not a tech shopper. Cyber Monday's coming up, but that's really not my thing to cover all of that. Oh, last year I mentioned sales that were useful. Did I? Okay. I didn't know I did. Maybe I'll look and see if I see something interesting, and that could be another video. I haven't even looked myself because I can't think of anything I want, but Having a ticket in Ubiquity that gives you little hope. Yes. Yes. Can you hack Linux with no effort? I don't know. That's not really a solid question. Depends on who you are, I guess, and what you're trying to hack and what you're trying to change. Let's see. What do we have here? Happy Thanksgiving, Zen Orchestra. Do you recommend installing XO in a small home lab? Yes, I really, I'm really a big fan of XO. I mentioned Invoice Ninja. I didn't know they had a sale. Maybe they have one again. I can look. I follow them on Twitter. So, anyways, back to XO. I'm gonna cover XO more for home lab. It is definitely my preference. And there's gonna be someone grabbing the caps lock and just smashing proxmox, and I'm fine. Go ahead and use proxmox. People want to argue with me about it, and I'm like, it's a great product, and they stop arguing. Well, it's a great product. Why don't you use it? Because I like XO better. But Tom, proxmox, and that is every time I do an XO video, I just laugh at how many people like do proxmox videos, which is funny because I have 2 friends who do proxmox videos that didn't get a lot of views, and it's kind of one of those things like, well, you guys keep asking, but apparently it's a small group of people that ask a lot of questions about proxmox. I don't use it. I'm doubled down on XO. I love the way it works. We have clients using it, and I don't have time to become a proxmox expert as well. So if you want to use it, great, but I do think XO is great for the lab. Either one, whichever one makes you happy. WP3, do you have requests from WP3 from your end users? 0 requests for WP3 from clients. Plenty of requests from YouTubers. People that comment on YouTube. That's the people who ask for WP3. It's the same thing. This is one of the things we have to separate out with Ubiquity. You know, someone tagged me in a tweet, and we'll go over to like my Twitter here, because I commented on this, and this is the problem in my rant occasionally about UniFi, was people say, oh, it's so broken. And let's go through this comment thread here. What did someone say? This person in particular said it's full of issues. What did they say? Oh, so many issues in 0.36, Matthew. And this is all public. I'm not calling Matthew out. It's something he posted. So many issues in 0.36. You know, this is what happens with Ubiquity. Everyone's complaining about it. Note the color difference on the client screen. It's pure black. Apparently, he doesn't like the gray to black transition. If this is the problem with UniFi, then yeah. Now, this is a legit thing that he did comment on, but so many issues sounds dramatic. 2 problems, one of them being a color scheme change. This is where it's hard for Ubiquity to separate the noise, because they allow end users to use things, and the actual problems. And this is what fills up some of the forums, is people complaining about things. Now, this is a dumb problem right here, and I covered this in the video. They don't show the guest VLANs. That's because you have to click edit. They broke it and it doesn't display. That's annoying. It's functional. It's graphically annoying. It's not big annoying. This, I don't even understand what they're saying. He just doesn't like the color. Okay, I guess file a bug report and the developers will get right on it. But this is where you have almost more noise in the market, because end users complain more about that stuff than technicians and people functionally use it. And there are some functional things that UniFi may have problems with, and those should be looked at too. So yes, that's I don't know. It's too much noise sometimes. Yes, people don't like moving away from Outlook. That's what keeps them on Office 365. And you're absolutely right. If they love Outlook, Outlook is like a drug for some people. They're really into it, and I just don't care. So I'm like, whatever. I don't try and I lack the time to break their addiction to Outlook. I got nothing. Old companies and older people love Outlook. Younger people are like, why would I use that? And I'm I'm not that young, but I've never had to use Outlook in my life, and I'm planning on keeping it that way. pfSense remote proxies. I don't understand that question. I have no opinion on pfSense remote proxies. People using proxmox, Errata or Snort on pfSense. I like Errata. Take a break from optimizing my failed point-to-point link. Oh, yes. Proxmox now, but Tom, OpenSense, disclaimer, I don't use it. Yeah, people like OpenSense. Use it if it makes you happy. Yes, Unraid does seem to make things easy for consumers. I don't use it. I don't have a problem if you use it and people want me to do videos on it. There's enough people doing videos on it that are good. There's a couple of big YouTube channels that have done lots of videos on it. I don't feel that I can add any more value to that particular class of videos. There's enough videos on it, and I don't use it, so I'm not going to take the time to learn it. I would not say. The problem is with Windows security is Microsoft has just been, you have to patch so much. The patching is kind of a pain on Microsoft, and it's also a brace for impact when there's problems. And it's kind of unfortunate. Microsoft has gotten better at security. Most of the time, people are clicking phishing emails and things like that. It's reasonably secure to use Windows if you keep it patched and up to date and you don't click phishing links. It's just Windows is more targeted because it's a bigger target. So you're always going to see more out there because it's statistically the majority operating system right here in 2020. Have I used pfSense Captive Portal? Yes, I have, and I hate all captive portals. I like the implementation in pfSense better than most, but I hate Captive Portal. I avoid it. It is only under absolute need if I put a Captive Portal in. I avoid them because it's just nothing but a support nightmare. I actually want to do a couple more MikroTik videos, so it's one of the things I'd probably recommend for home lab. For new hardware, MikroTik is hard to beat for the home lab. They just offer that feature price point mix that's really good. I don't see MikroTik much. There's people, because they have a team and they really like it in a WISP market where the margins aren't very good, they seem to be really popular. Anywhere where you have a team that takes the time to learn it and they're in a business with low margins, MikroTik becomes the choice hardware because it'll get the job done. It just has the learning curve. For larger companies, yeah, they need the support. They need and margins are good in financial industry, for example. They're going to choose some of the bigger brands and things like that because saving a few dollars doesn't usually make that big of a difference to them on that. So, but I think when it comes to home lab, on the other hand, whatever you can afford is some of the best stuff. And buying used is probably one of your best bets for home lab in general. So. I don't know why people would sneak in your computer. So sounds weird. Outside of the scope of this video, for sure. Thank you, John. Thank you for all you do. I've learned a lot from your videos, XCPNG, pfSense, and whatnot. Greetings from the Philippines. Thank you, Jonas. I said John. Jonas. Thank you for the donation. It is greatly appreciated. Anyone else want to fling money at me? I'm okay with this. It's how I buy hardware and all the other stuff. So... What else do we have in here? Beer money. Yes. You can pay me in lines of PHP code. One line at a time, maybe. I don't know. What else do we have here? UniFi and Thanksgiving. That's all I was just talking about. I don't know. My other UniFi problems are pretty minor. I don't really think I had many of them. I do have a couple firmware updates to do, but I can't. Can I do any of them right now? Let me look. What else isn't updated? Can't update that. That's the one I'm connected to. So I can't push the update to that. And this is the one the pfSense is connected to, so I can't push an update to that. I'm going to do it after the video, but all these other ones are up to date, including whatever Steve was doing in his office. What did Steve do? Did he name his ports something stupid? Steve's lab. Yeah, he put this in his office because he plugged stuff in so he doesn't have to come up front. These are all the stuff that is actually in my office right now. That's what it looks like. There's Steve's stuff. The Wi-Fi. This is all of our naming, too, for those of you that... this is actually, if everyone wonders how things get named, the 10Gs and SSPs, is actually, as soon as we unbox this, one of the staff, Eric, go, yo, it's got 10Gs and SFP, yo. And he's like, what are you going to name it? I'm like, 10Gs and SFP, yo. There's dumb reasons we name things. There's not actually a great scheme to it. Studio Top PoE Switch, Studio Top Rack Gen 2. Or just Studio Rack Gen 2. And then this one's on top. So we called it Top. Steve's office is boringly named. This has been dubbed the Wi-Fi Rectangle, which is just one of those base station XGs. And when we replaced our old Wi-Fi, this is new, better Wi-Fi. So because that's what we start calling things. That there's not, yeah. And this isn't a back rack, so it's called back rack. Anyways, the UniFi mapping works, so there's that. pfSense remote proxy, Squid implementation. I hate Squid. I have a video on why I hate Squid. It's too much work and very little value. But I guess if you really need that level of filtering, then go for it. If you want to take the time to deal with what breaks when that happens, go ahead. Tom doesn't do things without a use case. That's very true. SAS HBA expanders video. I'm working on a storage video that, yes, definitely going to work on some more storage videos, and I want to explain some of the hardware. Matter of fact, this is something I was doing the other day, was digging out some of the old stuff we have. And old hard drives we have. I keep a few things around, not at all for nostalgia. Actually, not a big hardware collector, but I do these. I keep like one of each of some of these old things because I want to talk about it, and I also want to break down some of the history of, because I think it might be a good topic, because I was there, man. I was doing this stuff, and I like to break down some of the topics related to some of the hardware, how it evolved, and where we are today. Because there's, it's all relational for how we went from SCSI to iSCSI and all the different implementations. So yeah, I will probably at some point do some videos on that. And I have a dying server that I want to rebuild, and I want to do a video on rebuilding it. Those videos are popular, and I don't do enough of them. Because most of the time we're just buying stuff and shipping it to clients. It's new. It's more of a home lab thing. We don't build a lot of servers for customers. It's more about you buy them, you put them in, and they're direct shipped. We sold some big servers. We just sold another server to a movie studio. And these servers are huge, but they don't even pass through the building. They're direct, we coordinate and direct ship and get them there. We just sold another like $60,000 worth of servers to another company. These are things that are going on behind the scenes, but they're not really something easy to make a video about, and the hardware doesn't pass through here, so they don't make a pit stop here to get to there. But yeah, I wouldn't mind doing some videos on how some of the backplanes work. I think it'd be fun, and I would I'd probably, because I actually talked to Wendell from Level 1 Techs. He said if I get the base together for the video, he'd join me for the video, which would be really exciting. So we just got to find the time to get our times lined up and scheduled to make that happen. But the history of storage servers might be fun. UniFi versus TP-Link? No, not likely. TP-Link makes junk. They make cheap junk. That's why they're popular. I don't think of them as I don't know. They make very nothing has compelled me about them to make me think they do anything more than make cheap stuff that is okay. I don't know any reason that I would want to use them. And for those of you that didn't see, one of the really popular stories have been the backdoors found in some more of these crappy, inexpensive routers. So I don't know. I don't trust them in any measure. They're not open source. They're not auditable. There's nothing about them that makes me think I should be using them. They just are a, I don't know, higher end brand, off-brand company. So yeah, there's not, I don't expect to, I don't know. What do we have here? What are your thoughts on moving FreeNAS to a dual 64 gig RAM? I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that. Let's go to Will It FreeNAS and have hardware discussions there. We don't build that many FreeNAS. I consult their forums if I have a lot of FreeNAS build questions, because we don't build that many. Greetings from Czech, the Republic. You know, my ancestry is from the Czech Republic. It would have been my grandfather was first generation here. Prior to that, they were from Czechoslovakia. So anyways, that wasn't your question, where you're from. Tried XCP&G a week ago, really like it, continue to test it. We only use ESXi, but things might change. Yes, one of the things that drove the expansion of XCP&G is people not liking the new raise in prices that came for with the new ESXi. So that was definitely a big, motivator for people to do that. They're like, hey, let's look at other alternatives because they just raised the price on there. So this is one of the reasons I don't like TP-Link. And I don't know if this has been fixed. I don't got time to play with their firmware. This is a really popular video, and I need to do more videos on this. Inexpensive TP-Link budget switch. Here's the problem, though. This switch allowed any VLAN to talk to the management interface unencrypted. These are the problems you get with budget switches. If you care about security, don't use them. And this is why I'm not really a fan unless someone tells me that they've turned it around and suddenly came up with a secure and good firmware for these switches. Their branding is confusing because some of them say managed it aren't. And this was actually some of the comments people had. Some of the boxes say managed, some of them don't. And some are managed and some are not. So you basically have a budget company that doesn't do security very well based on my review of it. And then people say, what about TP-Link switches? I'm like, if you don't care about security, you just want to play with a VLAN enabled switch, then go for it, use it. If you care about any type of security, spend like $10 more and buy an edge switch. Like the price difference between the edge switch and some of the other ones was so minimal, it hardly made sense to me to buy a TP-Link. Let's see. GlusterFS doesn't work properly on BSD. That's why TrueNAS Scale was developed. That is actually very true. Sam mentioned that. So, oh yes, ISA slots for sure. No to TP-Link. Their VLANs are still accessible to access management. Yep, that's a real problem. You can VLAN hop on them. I love the box of the TP-Link more than I liked anything else about the TP-Link. The box is cool. So if you want a cool box to put on your shelf, TP-Link is your go-to. They have the coolest box. Have I seen the dev mounts by Patchbox? Didn't Willie do a video on that? I didn't watch it. What is it?
Replace in place until they are secured with the included hex nuts. This simplifies installations of heavy equipment and repetitive workflows. The included hex nuts can be used from both sides, which ensures speed and ease. Simply take them out of the box and screw them in by hand. No matter how big or small the task, using DevMount means no tools.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Maybe I'll get some of these. This looks pretty cool. And now I get what they are. Like I said, I know Willie did a video on it. They look novel. Any problems with slow UniFi controller with more than 100 APs, 50 switches? Yeah, you don't have enough speed, processing speed, probably. That's my guess. XCPG versus VMware versus Hyper-V. I have no opinion on Hyper-V other than it's Windows, so I don't use it. We have clients using it. I mean, I use it if we have to. I have a video comparing XCP-NG to VMware. I probably should do an updated one because there are now more features in XCP-NG than when I last did the video. But the video comparison already covers that, all the features that it has. It's on parity with it in terms of features. XCP-NG is fully open source. So my answer is use XCP-NG. If you want a more in-depth answer, I have a whole video where I break it down in more detail. Yeah, MikroTik is not much more expensive than TP-Link and offers you way more features. And I did a video on MikroTik's SwitchOS. It's an easier way to implement it. And matter of fact, I would say the SwitchOS interface is still better than TP-Link's interface. Considering a UDM Pro with the new Wi-Fi 6 later this year, do you think it would be a good move? If I don't recommend, I'm about to just stop recommending the UDM Pro to everybody. I told people that I would recommend it if you have the most basic of routing requests. Like you want to replace a Linksys. So it goes like this: buy a Linksys, Netgear, whatever, consumer stuff you can buy at a retail store, or UDM Pro. UDM Pro is a little better than the consumer stuff. As soon as you need features, and this is someone tagged me in Twitter who was quite angry, claiming I'm the reason, and they also claimed in my video I stated it would do things it wouldn't do, which neither of those things are true. The problem is with UDM, as soon as you go, I need VPN, I need this, you're like, oh, well, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't do that. So if you have plans to do advanced networking, don't buy a UDM. Simple as that. Don't. If you plan to just need routing, use a UDM. It routes. So that's my opinion on it. Yeah, Unraid's main purpose is to serve media. Yes. I've never seen Unraid in a large commercial install. As I had stated earlier in the video, we just sold another, not the first movie studio we've sold, another movie studio, $60,000 worth of TrueNAS hardware. That's not an uncommon sale. That is, the TrueNAS stuff is something we use, very large scale data center type work. I've never seen Unraid any of the data centers. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It's not what I see in the larger commercial markets. Why don't they make consumer grade rack mount modems? I don't know. No demand for it to be my guess. It's funny because most businesses have cable coming in. I'm talking like companies with 200 or 300 people, we still see cable coming in, but you're right. There's none of the cable modems are rack mount. The only thing that's rack mount is all the fiber equipment, and not everybody has fiber. So I don't know. It seems like they should, but then again, it's also such a small box when you look at, we'll head over to like Amazon. Most of the cable modems, like especially the aftermarket ones, are small, and I don't know, you just stick them on a shelf. The Netgear ones being popular, they're not very big. They just sit on a shelf somewhere. And I don't know. And also, we hardly even use the aftermarket ones. We bought a few of these. These were actually all for staff. I think all the staff bought these. I don't remember why we bought them. It says we bought a few, so it says we purchased 3 of them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's enough demand to make them rack mount. But it's funny because so many of these businesses, that's how they have internet. So someone went MikroTik over Ubiquiti because they support QI&Q. Yes, that is. If there are certain specs you need, then you are just going to have to go with a product that has the thing you need in it. That's the bottom line. So if this is a requirement, don't go with a switch that doesn't meet the requirement. Yeah, they can't have VPN with UDM, just port forward to a machine inside the network. Yep, pretty much. XCP-NG can do everything that Hyper-V can do. But it can't break in fun new ways with Windows Update. So we've seen that. I've helped troubleshoot some people who were using TrueNAS as their storage server, FreeNAS at the time, but now TrueNAS, with Hyper-V, and they had so many stupid Windows problems with updates that I just said, man. One of the people finally, they emailed me just to let me know the final solution was they're moving away from Hyper-V because they were buying Microsoft support time and having problems. Microsoft's answer was like, reload your stack, and you're like, that's a stupid answer. They ended up reloading the stack, and it did fix the problem, but they just said, this is dumb, and that's a bad way to do it because it caused them a lot of hours and a lot of downtime. Can you 3D print 1U rack mount for the Flex Mini? Yes, we actually have and I'll switch this real quick here. We did 3D print. I had a picture of it I posted on Twitter. We 3D printed a rack mount for the Raspberry Pi. So there is that. We 3D print stuff randomly. That'll be part of my home lab video too. That's why we've been printing things, is we've been kind of talking about that. And I might do some giveaways of 3D print things to do it. Well, also, we branded these. My staff has been doing all kinds of 3D printing stuff. We stuck our logos in there. It's kind of hard to see because it's embossed in there. We might do something like to etch it to make it look cooler. But yeah, that's it says Lawrence Technologies on it. So 3D printing stuff for rack is always fun. Let's see. Running out of coffee here. I don't think I'm gonna have another cup. I think I'm good. STL files. We are going to set up a Thingiverse for Lawrence Systems to do the STL files. The STL files are broken, so I can't upload them. They're broken. If you printed that as it is, it's broke. We had to use a file to fix a few things. So one of my staff, or two of them actually, have been working a lot on redoing the STL files to make them proper. Yes, we do have many customers using XCP-NG. Oracle looks sensible for doing on-the-fly updates without downtime. Oracle OS. Okay. I don't understand the relevance of that, but okay. Heavy interference, UniFi Mesh Pros. Any advice on channel setup? Find the channel that's not in use. The advice is about that simple. Oh, yes. Windows updates on my new Screen Connect server. Yeah, that's a thing. Whatever. We had to move to Windows, so that's life. Nothing I can do about it. James, I don't understand the question exactly. That's probably best in the forums for a more in-depth discussion on that. So you can post in my forums or whatever. Oh, by the way, people who DM me on my forums, I don't reply. So people decide to not post things as questions, but ask about like a rule in pfSense and DM me on my forums, and I don't reply to those. So that's a thing. People who try to guess my email address or just randomly email things to people here at the office, they don't get replies either unless you're existing customers. We have a form for people who want to contact us directly. I mention that every now and then. I don't think you folks are the people doing that, but for the people that do it, and then they call and go, hey, I've sent like 10 emails to this address and no one replied. And you're like, you sent lots of random to some email address that doesn't exist at the company. I purposely don't bounce emails either. So when you send things to an email address that doesn't exist, it goes to dev null, as in nowhere land. We don't bounce back addresses. That's a common tactic people use to guess what our email addresses are. And yeah, by not bouncing back, you don't know when you're right. And you don't know when you're wrong. So yes, things just go into dev null. We send a lot of things there. I look once in a while in there because actually I have a collections box I set up, and so it puts it all somewhere, and I'm like, wow, people send a lot of stuff. It all starts with the subject line is like universally the same. I have a quick question. And because right now I think statistics, I get let's see here. We'll go to my analytics. So we look at the analytics. Engagement, audience. Oh, let me move my face out of the way. So right now we have over a million unique viewers. What that means is a million unique is a unique individuals that watched it, not like watched every video, the same person, but overall. That lends to a lot of people emailing us and calling us. And this is one of the reasons that I have a person who answers the phone and replies on the contact form as kind of like a task that they do every day. We try to keep up with it as best we can, but a lot of people just have a question and some of them are angry, and we have it on our website about hiring us, and they seem to be angry that we won't just sit on the phone with them and walk them through whatever problem they're having for free. So that's why our contact form is very clear that we charge for support. Support's expensive, and that's a definite thing that we spend a lot of time doing. So that's why we have processes. You have to, as we've grown as a company, and this is just in general, and we have 300 businesses outside of YouTube. We have right around 300 businesses that we do IT support for. We're busy before YouTube. So this is why we have processes that we send everyone through. That's why I have forums and things like that to trying to consolidate how this works and being able to keep up with everyone and keep everything as fair as possible. Do you feel like starting a project working on mini microstations like Serve the Home? Love these little things. Not sure how they hold up in small businesses. I don't know, maybe something to look at. I like what they do where Serve the Home. Me and Patrick have had a couple conversations. Great guy, great. The Serve the Home team has been neat to talk to. They have excellent forums, really solid on learning hardware, and a lot of they have good recommendations. Yeah, not bouncing mitigates spammers a lot too. Let's see. If you have reviewed Synology, I know you've reviewed Synology NAS, but have you used or looked at Synology routers? You know, I thought they were interesting, but I didn't want to review them. They just seem... You ever watch a company get into a product and go, they won't be in that product long? They made the most basic routers. I'm like, there's nothing compelling or interesting about them. I don't know. I mean, Synology seems like a solid company when it comes to making their NAS devices, but that's the UniFi problem. Why did they build a door access? Synology, why did you build a router? You have no compelling or interesting features on this router. Will you support it for the long term? It's kind of a, I mean, trust me, they say they will. I'm questioning it, not Synology. You have to be committed if you're going to do the routing. And I don't know where their commitment level is to it. So I think it's one of those, they dived into it. There's nothing interesting or compelling about it. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Did sell Ubiquiti camera system this week. Cool. Ubiquiti cameras, I mean, their Protect system's pretty nice. We don't push it at all, though, because Ubiquiti's path has been fuzzy on our cameras. We moved our clients that had the standard UniFi stuff over to Protect. That is something we did do. Email comment, interesting. You have different approaches to data protection from UK where you have GDPR. Dropping email is your solution to lines of communication and management thereof. I don't understand it. I don't know if that's a statement or a question. So fun video series idea. Get consent from a business next time you do an audit of their current equipment. Make video for what you replace and why. You know, they sometimes call these QBRs for quarterly business reviews. They are something that happens a lot. I don't know. I need to find some clients that are probably happier to have me come in there and talk about what we do. But there is a lot of that. You look at their servers, you look at the load they have, you look at the age of the server, like, hey, you should replace this. That's a concept that's going on. You're always looking at all of this stuff and trying to figure out, how to deal with that. So figure out, when it's time to replace it. When's the load too high on it? When's the load average too high? That's something we do look at quite a bit. Yeah, you got to commit or get out of the way with those Synology routers. You're right. Yeah. Your business videos and your thought process on why you like certain products has helped my own thought process a lot as well. Hey, thank you. I try to share a lot of that. I try to talk about not just the product I choose, but why I chose it. To me, this is pretty helpful because there is a process to it and it's not static. There's a lot of people, though, that reach a static level of I only like these products, and that is common in the tech industry. People become focused. Now, there is also some good reasons to at least stay with a common interface, because if you are constantly changing things up, you have a problem of supporting those products, and if you're not proficient at them, you can lead to having problems, misconfiguring them, and things like that. So quarterly battle reports is probably a better, do you think YouTube is tainting my view on the IT business? No, I don't think YouTube taints it. My view on the IT business is because I've worked for 25 years in the IT business. So I'm tainted by the fact that I've worked in IT for 25 years, and I probably will work in it for quite a bit longer. So I'm only I'm in my 40s right now, so I probably have another 20 years before I should probably not be in it. But then again, I don't know. I've met some people. We have a client who's 80, who's sharp. I mean, the dude is sharp and still does IT. It's not even, he owns a business, but knows the IT extremely well. So I don't know how long I'll be in it, but all my jadedness is, if I have any, which I probably have a little bit, is from 25 years of working in the IT business. Documentation, I still use a wiki. I'm really thinking about this, and do I venture out and build the next generation of documentation server? I've really put some thought into this. And if I can find the right programmers, if I can find the right team, I would fund the project for building a better documentation server. There's popular ones out there. There's things I don't like about some of the popular ones out there. Any of the ones that can view your data, can view your documentation on the back end are ones I don't prefer to use. So we are still using Wiki. That is our favorite way to do documentation. The Wiki markup language I find easy, but I will admit some people said they don't like it. They don't like the constraints of using a wiki, and they don't want to learn the markup language. So my technicians all know it, but that's my technicians. That may not be I don't have a lot of like level 1 help desk. My technicians are network engineers and don't have problems using that. So I don't know. As my solution for now, I don't really have a better one. So let's see. I don't understand that other question. How I have a voice? Which wiki? MediaWiki. MediaWiki is not fun to install and maintain. Yes, and that's why I said I should probably come up with a better documentation server, because you are absolutely right. MediaWiki is not fun to install or maintain. That's just facts. Raspberry Pi. Pi signage is one of the use cases. Usually it's just for, we don't have a ton of customers with Raspberry Pis. They're fun for reconnaissance. They're fun for if I have to monitor a network that doesn't have a computer at it and I need a way to get in. So, I mean, there's use cases for them, but they're not like they're deployed everywhere. So value-added resellers. How's the market changing? I hate the whole VAR market. It is so stupidly broken. And not getting better. Everything's going to direct sales. That is just the way the market is slowly shifting. And Amazon has destroyed the profit margin on hardware. It's one of the reasons we don't run hardware through our business hardly at all unless we're doing a complete project. We let the clients, and because sometimes our clients are other IT companies, as we're doing projects, we let them buy the hardware. People call, this is a common call we get. Hey, I want the best deal on UniFi. Can you beat Amazon's price? No. Oh, but I watched your YouTube video. I want the best price on it. And that is like a common, sometimes more than once a day phone call. There's no value in reselling a lot of the hardware. Some companies are channel partner direct, as in they won't sell to the general public. They only sell to certain channel partners. There's still some margin in that market, but those markets even seem to be going away. People figure out the price of things. So VAR is, yeah. Oh, YouTube, the platform has given you a voice, so now the likes of Synology, Ubiquity are talking to you to push their products. Well, sure they are, but they all want me to push product, but that's not why I choose product. We were using these products beforehand. Matter of fact, pfSense, perfect example. I was using pfSense before YouTube. Prior to me even activating a channel, which first was, if you find my oldest videos, you'll find I was doing videos on laptop teardowns. I was using pfSense. We were using FreeNAS also prior to even having a YouTube channel. My introduction and how I met these companies is because I did videos first. I did videos on their product and then they reach out to me. Huntress Labs, I did the video on how we use Huntress Labs. So I hardly say it's influencing me. That's the closest you can come to influence is why I even reviewed. And it's because what did influence me was less the product. I am influenced to review something because people ask me to. I mentioned several times that we don't, in this particular live stream, I've mentioned several times we don't use the UDM or the USG. I reviewed both of those because people ask me. So I'm more influenced by an audience than I am by product companies. I don't make my living off YouTube. I don't directly make a living by, I don't do sponsored videos where they pay for me to make a video. So that's how I avoid all those types of problems. The money is in services integration. Yes, we leverage knowledge for money. That's if you want to look at how I perceive my business. We leverage knowledge for money. Trying to sell someone else's hardware at margin that I didn't make is a race to zero margin. That's the only way you can look at it. So that's, yeah. I'm curious on work-life balance as a business owner. What is the longest amount of time you've been able to take time off since you started your company? I've taken, I think, a week off. I hate taking a week off. I just don't want to. I've worked and built a lot of automation to not have me be the center of the universe here. So I've been able to take time off. I just don't like doing it. Work-life balance is hard because I am obsessive with what I do. I'm obsessive with technology. And so taking me away from it is taking me away. By the way, the week off I spent at Microsoft doing events with them. So I have taken weeks off, but I just do something else in technology. So that becomes fuzzy of whether or not I was actually working for a week or just doing something different for a week. So it depends on how you structure your business. Unfortunately, I've watched so many small business owners become the center of their business and never delegate anything, and they have to be the center of their business all the time. So they never can take time off. They've worked themselves into a corner. I'm not that person. I don't do that. What inspired you to start doing YouTube? Scalability. So when you're trying to think of ways to do things bigger and better, I like sharing knowledge. I like doing the talks that I was doing before I did YouTube. I did public talks at Linux conventions of things like firewalls and all kinds of stuff. And you think, how do you get this out to more people? And many people ask, hey, can you publish this video on YouTube? Okay. And some of my early popular successful videos were pfSense videos because I had did several talks at Linux places. And that's how it kind of evolved. And I also, as I realized there was a bigger audience than expected for learning, I said, I like teaching people, so let's throw more things on YouTube. So it all goes pretty well. Awesome. You have a UniFi and pfSense because Tom talks about it. So yes. What is a good margin to have, do you think? I don't know. That varies a lot. That's a very contextual question of what are you trying to sell and what's your margin. If you're asking about your EBITDA, your earned income before taxes, we can look that up. That's a whole different discussion. Maybe I should do a video on that topic. I've done one about profit and loss. Maybe I should do one about our earned income before taxes. Is that your wife's plan? You not talking? You not taking a week of? Yeah, maybe. She always wants me to take more time off. I don't like sitting on beaches or anything like that. I do not build pfSense very often, so I have no rack and motherboard recommendations for you. Buy whatever you want. Go spend some time talking hardware on some of the forums. I just don't build many pfSenses. I built one for Xavier last year. That's the one pfSense I've built in 3 years. So I'm just not really my thing. Services, price discovery and maturation issues, as in leveraging information, becomes a philosophical. So the question is one of human development. Sure. We currently think our market price, and we keep it published on our website. My techs are $200 an hour, and I'm $300 an hour. So, do I always like being in front of others? So I am not a social person, but I don't look at being up on stage. I've never had stage fright. I don't want to be in the crowd, but I never mind being in front of a crowd. That's never bothered me. I don't want to be around a bunch of people, but being in front of them, I'm up there by myself most of the time, so I'm 100% comfortable with it because I've never had any type of stage fright. I just get up and do. But I'm quiet in person. I talk, almost all my talking is done here on YouTube. Between YouTube and when I'm not talking to customers or doing a project, I am very, very silent for hours on end without saying anything. I also avoid most social situations. I don't like them. The lockdown has been incredibly easy on me because it's my favorite excuse not to do any of the things I didn't want to do to begin with. Because the wife is like, you speak, hey, me and my friends are going to go somewhere. Would you like to go? No, I don't want to go. But, now that we don't go anywhere, it doesn't matter. I don't have to use it. So, do you prefer turkey or ham? I'm indifferent. Deer is that, if you actually, what I really like for Thanksgiving is deer, venison. So, hopefully that answers that question. PC Engine's APU, I've seen a few people talk about them. I had a friend that did a build with the PC Engines. He likes it. Never done one. It was on my to-do list that I wanted to do one. Matter of fact, one of those companies sent me something, and we never ended up reviewing it because there's a long story about it, but basically it wouldn't run pfSense. And they were supposed to send me one that would. They literally sent me the one that doesn't and had no software on it, and I'm not sure what to do with it now. I gotta dig that out. Saying that reminded me that it exists here. Yeah, introversion socially and ability to speak with authoritatively. So I have worked in management for a long time. You speak authoritatively or you don't work in management. That is, I've never had a problem because even at a young age, I had staff under me. I was the head of IT for a company. You have to be authoritative decisive and precise, or you don't get to have your way when you're sitting in a board meeting. So even though I was a young guy with long hair, which that come up a lot oddly because I've always had long hair, you will get dismissed. I was actually dismissed a lot for not having gone to college. I had gotten into it with the chief financial officer of the company, who really didn't like me, and her, really thumbed her nose because she had her accolades and degrees on her wall behind her and reminded me that I was overpaid for not having a degree. And I was generally a smartass, and I just said she was overpaid for having a degree. I exchanged words. And so you learn, and this is one of the differences. You have to learn how to articulate your problem. You have to speak authority to the board. You have to learn to sell what your idea is, or it doesn't get funded and it doesn't get done. And you have to understand its business use case. All those techniques I learned working in the corporate world is what allowed me to start the business and to be where I'm at. It's not really a bragging type thing, but I was doing really well. When I left the corporate world, I was making, $100,000 a year, and I was like 24 years old. And this was in 2003. So whatever that adjusted to would be more today. I didn't come from not making money. I was doing really well back in the corporate days. Matter of fact, I still have my offer letter I got in 1999 and how much I was getting paid even back then. It was just because one of the things, it sounds bragging. That's why I usually don't say it. But I mean, I did really well, but I was good at my job, and they recognized it. And because they recognized me being really talented at what I do, they paid me very well for doing it. That's the best way to describe it. So I was doing, long before YouTube, long before even owning a business, I was very successful in the IT field with the things I was working on. I have no problem talking about it, but I'm not someone who wants to just come off and brag. Oh, I did this or I did that. I'm not a big bragging type person. It doesn't do any good. It's not something that I feel is helpful to anyone. Lead follower, get the hell out of the way. Yeah. I mean, you have to be sometimes doing things like that. So Tom for president. I'd vote for me. I don't think there's enough people. Can we have our first YouTube president? That would when you have the skills, the degree doesn't matter to an extent. The degree is a filter. It is a way for them to sort out the resumes before they even deal with them. Because when a job comes up, there's filtering that has to be done to make sure people just don't flood them with resumes. And this is one of those problems. Lars, don't do SNMP over the internet. That seems like a bad idea. That's, to my knowledge, none of the SNMP is encrypted. So that's something you do locally. Anyways. I'm never angry about smartass people. This is one of the skills I learned is just ignoring them and focus all the time. Don't let them distract you, because that's what a lot of those people do. You just remain very focused and steadfast in your goal, and that will bring you greater success. There's all kinds of adages and sayings and stuff about not letting them occupy space in your head, insert whatever, saying makes you happy. But mostly that's true just in a general of if someone's got their caps lock on and just telling me I suck, whatever. I just don't have time for that. I don't have time to dwell on it. I don't have time to address it. It's more about focus, get the job done, because in the end, that's what's appreciated by people is whether or not you got the job done, not the person stood over your shoulder telling you you're wrong, whatever. That is what it is. And focusing on that and the accomplishment at the end is usually what you're going to be judged by, not how you dealt with the haters or the smartass comment. This is where I avoid, like on Twitter, this most smartass comment gets the most likes or whatever. And I don't participate in a lot in that. Quips back are usually what get rewarded in social media, but they don't often provide much value. You always think about the bigger, longer goal. Those Twitter quips will be forgotten. They're going to wander off. They're not going to be something that gets a place in history. So nothing I would really, not that's just stay focused. That's probably my bigger advice for a lot of that. So social skills are really paramount. It's one of the things that'll make your difference in your tech career is whether or not you have social skills. One of the things that one of my friends who works at a very large computer lab told me was he was requiring people to have a 4-year degree in anything as a qualifier. And I asked him why. I thought that was a weird thing that he wanted a 4-year degree in anything. And he said, I want to know that they can write complete sentences. And this is a challenge. Like there are some very, very skilled people and they don't have any degrees, but their inability to do complete sentences and articulate things in writing was a real challenge and also stunted a lot of their career growth of basically an inability to articulate what they needed to get done in their job and an inability to communicate with their peers limited their growth potential at the company. Matter of fact, I'm still working on English. I my own fault because I went to high school but barely did anything. I was a very poor high school student and I didn't have any formal schooling after. That meant I just learned what I want. Sounds fun until you realize how bad Tom is at English. I am really bad at English and it's my only language and I'm not good at it. So I've actually besides this is one of the reasons I haven't taken the time to get any type of certifications. I've been refocusing learning English last year, like literally learning grammar and to be more articulate and working on my vocabulary. I decided that is a venture. Actually, I started a couple years ago now doing it. So if you ask what I'm reading, when I'm not doing this, it's actually not been technical stuff. It's been focusing on big gaps I have in knowledge outside of tech. My technical acumen, I feel, is really good. my grammatical skills and my grasp of the English language, I've learned by watching my videos and by people who comment, and it matters. This is a comment I will address. When people say, Tom, you used the wrong word. Oh, crap. I didn't even know what that word meant. Yep, I definitely use the wrong word. Or I grammatically say things in a very wrong way. My wife is actually quite good at grammar. I am not. Therefore, I realize I have some gaps. So I've been filling those gaps before I fill my gaps and certifications on things. Joe Rogan moderating Tom versus Kanye. No one loves Kanye West more than Kanye West. I got nothing. U6 APs. I don't do anything that's in the EA store. I don't cover it on my channel. That is part of the agreement for the EA stuff. So yeah. English Sense Grammar Router. Yes. I wish I could hire you to teach a masterclass on developing an IT career. I do want to do some more IT career videos. I actually reached out to there was at least one or two YouTubers I reached out to talk about that, and they never replied to me. One of them that does talk about IT careers. So, because I thought maybe it'd be kind of a good focus event. Maybe I'll do some partnering with the folks over at IT Pro TV, and we'll talk about IT career path. So that might be that. Learning Latin really helps with grammar. Might not be the most fun though. I am going to focus on English first before I wander off. By the way, my favorite focus on English has been Lexicon Valley. I've been going through that podcast. That has been hands down one of my favorite ways to learn English. Lexicon Valley has been great. Thinking to some purpose. That's probably a good way to put it. If you looked at the books I've read lately, I don't read a lot of technical books, especially lately. It's been different books. Lexicon Valley, that whole podcast, and I'll probably buy the books by the host of Lexicon Valley as well. There's going to be, there's a lot of, there's a lot to learn that stimulates your thinking, as David Kelly said. That helps a lot. As you look in other domains, it helps you a lot to understand things. And critical thinking is the key to all of this. Rude or not router? Yes, we know you're from England. Do I have any opinion on Spiceworks? I don't use Spiceworks. There's people who seem happy with it. So if you are among the people who are happy with Spiceworks, then use Spiceworks. I don't use it. IT Pro merger buyout. What is IT Pro merger buyout? I don't know what it is, so I have no opinion on it. So whatever IT Pro is, I guess they're merging according to Gareth. So I don't know. No opinion on that. So yes, root and route is fun, saying it between the those of you that are over in England versus those of us here in America. Router and router. Yes, that's fun. IT Pro TV are merging with another firm. Oh, didn't even know that. That's news. Where would one Google such a thing? I guess we Google IT Pro merger? IT Pro TV merger. Central European Media Enterprise announces expected closure date. This doesn't look like it. I don't know. I'm unaware if there's a Google search shouldn't yield anything. So I don't know what you're talking about. I am root. Yes. That actually rhymes better than it. Yeah. Matter of fact, that is the shirt I think I have on. The I am root. But this is not, see, this is root the user, not root the route. So thank you for the donation, not public. It is greatly appreciated. IT Pro TV merger. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so I have no opinion on it. Who are they merging with? That would probably be interesting. Yes, at least the consistency of people who over in England call it router and router, because I don't know. Interesting. Pronunciation of things. There's not too many things in tech that are pronounced differently, or am I wrong about that? Processor versus processor. Ooh, there's a fun one. Yes. You know, the Cat 6 shirt, hands down, is my favorite shirt. How do I find my store? Is it, I always get stuck on this part, but we do have another shirt in the store. It is the Teespring. I forget where my shirts are. Where do I gotta find all these? Stores. There it is. So I can just drop a link in it. There you go. This is the new shirts we have. Is this one. RAID is not a backup. We used to have one that said back that ass up, and that was removed. We were told that violates policies. I don't know what policies violate. They don't give us any information. They're just like, that was removed. That's all you can find out. So now it says RAID is not a backup. It's the same shirt. So now you have, if you have one that says back that ass up, you have a limited edition shirt because they won't let us post it anymore for reasons I don't know. If you think this is funny, working with strippers all day keeps the crimp hand strong. This does not violate any policies, and it's also a really good selling shirt. So I got nothing as to why the other one. I don't know. I don't know what the policies are clearly. So Mitchell R, thank you very much. Just because I enjoy your channel, this money is to get some hot sauce, and he says router. All right. So great. Yeah, I don't know how to do the back that ass up one, so my wife is in here posting. Wife versus goddess. I don't know. I don't call her goddess. She is mistaken. I do not pronounce wife goddess, honey. My wife is Kathleen Lawrence, for those of you that don't see it in the in there. So say hi to my wife, people on here. She's apparently decided to join the live stream. Let's see. Meters versus feet. Look, we're not going to get into the meters versus feet thing, because the metric system is probably superior. But we're Americans and we're not interested in things that work better. We're just interested in doing things the same way we've always done them for no good reason at all. And yeah, so there's that. That's, I was listening to someone from England, and I did laugh because someone had asked them about an English tradition, and they had the best answer, I thought, and it applies to a lot of things. Someone asked them why they kept doing some tradition, and he stopped. He goes, "Nobody knows. We've been doing it since the beginning of the time, and everyone's afraid to ask why we're doing it. So we just keep doing it because we've always done it." I feel some things in America are that way. Why do we keep using inches instead of meters? Because that's it. There's not any more to that sentence. Because. And it just so yes. Gigawatts versus gigawatts. Oh, yes. I do admit, and I'm not going to go too off topic, but I've said this a couple times because I just think it's my favorite dumb answer. Not a great answer, not a good talking point, but still funny. There's people who use metric, and there's people who went to the moon. We're the moon people here in America. Yeah, America. We went to the moon and we don't use metric. I don't like those answers of because we do it this way. Americanisms, yes. They're funny. That's it. They're not good talking points. So NASA, some of NASA uses metric. Not all of NASA uses metric. So that's how incidents have happened, because of the improper finagling back and forth between those who do and those who do not. It has led to problems. Yeah, I do kind of believe the moon is real. It's really made of cheese, though. So what it's, that could be a whole different argument. What kind of microphone am I using? Yes, let's get back on technical topics. Currently, I am using a new camera. For those of you that didn't notice that that things are a little bit different in here, I did reset things up. Now I'm still using the Blue Yeti, which for now I will continue to use because it works. I don't think I sound dramatically better on anything else, and I did buy a new Sony a6600, so I will be doing a new studio tour. But yeah, this Blue Yeti I've had for like 5 years. This is one like the cheapest way. If you're going to get into content creation, inexpensive. You can find these used for under $100, and that's a pretty reasonable price to pay for them. But yep, Blue Yeti with a Vim sticker. There we go. Oh, and a few people ask, ow, hold on. Sorry, people, if it's making a bunch of noise. A few people asked if it's backwards. It's not. This is where it faces. Matter of fact, if I do spin it around, you'll notice my voice sounds different versus this is the front of the microphone. That comes up every now and then. All right, there we go. Oh, let's see. Can I ask a question about the UniFi Cloud Key? New to the stream and don't know the etiquette? Yeah, ask any question you want. I answer them selectively or push you to the forums. If you're using a Cloud Key, though, make sure you are using a Gen 2. Oh, my wife was fishing for compliments. Now, there are social graces I don't know. My wife understands that. I often don't understand when someone says things sarcastically. I don't understand that occasionally. I just miss social cues occasionally. So I guess he was fishing for compliments. I'm interested in maintaining remote mobile access with UniFi video after they cut off access. Just use a VPN. Any of my VPN tutorials apply, because if you do a VPN, you have access to your internal network, which means you'll have access to your UniFi if it's on your internal network. So, yes, phishing with a PH. Yes. Tom doesn't do compliments. No, not usually. My wife is right about that. So. There we go. How heavy is the turkey? Yes, my wife is making turkey, I think. Yeah, there was a turkey. I seen it in the fridge. So there will be turkey. Any issues with the Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus Protect if it can't reach the internet? I think they fixed something about it. When the internet goes down, they fixed something about that you're able to access it locally. We always access ours locally, so let me log into it. Where is the video login? There we go. We are logged in locally, as you can see up here. I always log into my Protect system locally. I know the cloud thing works on it. We do have it attached to the cloud thing, but I use it locally more than anything else. The Tesla is actually parked out front today. There's nothing out back. The grill's out back. I'm going to do a shop tour, though. My staff did a great job of making the shop clean again, and they mopped the floors and everything else. That's why this is over here. Someone complained my shop was messy. I'm like, that's not messy. There's just stacks of projects going on. You can only make it look so nice when there's stacks of projects going on. So I will be doing a shop tour. I saw, not seen. Yes, my wife knows grammar much better than me. I don't know if she was listening to that part, but yes. Saw, seen is a difficult one for Tom. Tom's a bigger turkey. I'm the biggest turkey. So we'll go with that. Will cooking venison get a compliment? I just cook it myself, and I will pat myself on the back for doing it. Did I see a paper printer? No. You seen this. I got to put this for sale. That's been on my to-do list. Customer told us to take it away, so we did, but it works. And someone said it's sellable, so I'm going to throw it on for sale. It's on my to-do list. We don't. You notice the plug over here, and it's not plugged in. It's just rolled into the front of our lobby. My goal next week is to get crap I have laying around and put it all for sale for someone to buy. There's a lot of stuff we need to get rid of. Nope, no Wi-Fi 6 testing yet. I have very little interest. You know, it wasn't until I got a new house that I even got to having 5 gigahertz in my house. If I need high-speed Wi-Fi, I don't need high-speed Wi-Fi, I should say. If I needed something high-speed, I plug it in hardline. So I don't even care about Wi-Fi 6 that much. It's what people on YouTube ask a lot about. It's not what customers are asking about. People ask about my influence from YouTube. My life is still greatly influenced by customers more than commenters on YouTube. There's hacks out there to work on the UDM Pro and get the access software on your own hardware. They're all hacky and pain in the butt. I have fun with it. It's not anything I'll ever do a video on. I have no opinion on the Firewaller product. I'm fuzzy on it of how it works because I think it looks interesting. So yeah, what's my Wi-Fi? Here's a Cat 6 cable. Yes, everything's hardline for me. Hardline works so much better. It's just still, Wi-Fi works and it's great when I need my phone to work. But do I care if my phone's connected over Wi-Fi 6? I care zero. I don't care at all. It doesn't matter to me. I don't do anything on my phone that needs to be that fast. Matter of fact, 2.4 works perfectly fine. I don't even know what we have here connected. So there's my Wi-Fi. If you wonder what the Wi-Fi name is, actually I got to move it over a little bit. We made our Wi-Fi symbols because that's cooler. But yeah, whatever. Drag that over there. Go back to this. There we go. Does YouTube let you stream a screensaver? Probably. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube will stream whatever OBS sends it. So I send things to OBS. OBS does the streaming. So yes. Can you still use the UniFi app through VPN? Yes, you just connect to the local IP address. Mouse, which is German for mouse. Yes. Domain names can have emojis. Yes, I think so. There's some restrictions, but yes. Do you hear rumors about Ubiquiti hardware even before they show up in early access? I know where the forums are that you can find that information. I mean, if you spend time on Reddit alone, you'll find it. I don't care. I wait till things come out. I wait till things come out before we do that. Monitoring switches on client sites. With Ubiquiti ones we monitor, but it's not something, monitoring switches that much is not something that comes up. It's just not, people, I don't know. I see a lot of people dive a lot into that. But yeah, I'm running OBS on Linux right now. Back on the OBS question, this is OBS. Matter of fact, let's have fun. This is OBS on Linux. Now, it works fine on Linux. I don't have any problem with it, except the Stream Deck. For those of you asking about Stream Deck on Linux, that's a different question, and it doesn't work very well. Yeah, difference between should and can is two very different things. Stream Deck I don't use. I'm not in the big studio. This is my office. I don't use a Stream Deck in my office because I have the ability in my office. I always got the keyboard in front of me, so I can actually, without moving to the mouse, I can switch views by doing this. This is my mouse hand. Hey, and this is my mouse. You can set keyboard shortcuts. So I just use keyboard shortcuts with OBS. I don't really need a Stream Deck in here. The Stream Deck in my studio is because I'm not at the switching computer. I have a Windows computer connected to multiple sources, including an overhead, and I'm holding product, so I don't want to have to hold keys in front of me because that's more tedious. I'd rather use a Stream Deck. That's where I use that. I don't know. I thought about starting a Twitch channel, so definitely on my thought. Microtik videos, I thought about that. I might do a few more. What would I do on Twitch? What would you guys want to watch me do? Most of my day is spent in silence, replying to emails or working on projects. But some of them are customer projects, so I can't necessarily share what I'm doing. The Stream Deck works very poorly on Linux. The best way to describe it. There's a Python library to get it working. It's a poor implementation that is a little buggy. Any plans to make a tutorial on how to set up the UniFi app to connect to the UniFi video? I don't know why you would need a tutorial. You go on your network, you put in the IP address, you connect it. When you're not on your network, the same IP address, but you do it over a VPN. So I'm not sure. I'm not clear on, it's probably a better forum post. It's like someone asked me about how to put SSH keys in UniFi. I'm like, copy paste, like do a video on it. I'm like, no, copy paste. There's a box that says SSH. You just put the SSH key in, and that's why there's not a video on it, because there's nothing else to do other than put the SSH key in. Matter of fact, this is where you put it in. So I brought this up the other day. If you want to put the SSH key in, there it is. There, put the SSH key in. And you want to add a new one, you add a new key and you paste it in. Yeah. Pretty much SSH copy ID. And I have a whole video on SSH, and that's my thing. Learning how SSH keys works is probably the bigger thing that people need to learn. There's people keep asking me about Twitch, so I thought it's just another platform that people may like. So maybe that's, yeah. How to add a different IP via the app? Just type it in. That's why I don't understand it as a question, because I would just type in the IP address. So there's, you add it in the app and you type in the IP address. Stock tips? No, that's my wife's world. She works in securities stuff and exchange. Security, she's security licensed to do stock trading and investments. Blah, blah, blah stuff. Stock tips: buy low, sell high. I don't have any insight. Rant clips for my vlogs. Sure. Let's see. We got to ban a user. Remove. Oh, I guess I actually have to hide user. There we go. You know you're popular when the bots come at you, right? Is that how it works? What upcoming network companies do I admire? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't think they're publicly traded. There's companies like Tailscale that look kind of neat, that are raising private funds. I don't know that they're ever going to go public. Not all these companies go public. That's part of the problem. It takes a lot to go public. Datto went public, and what was their stock price doing? So, here's one of them that obviously was kind of exciting. I don't know what their long-term looks like. Matter of fact, the thing I've heard about Datto from a couple of people is they don't feel as though Datto is focusing at all on the networking companies they purchased. Datto didn't start any networking. They purchased some other companies. I have heard from other people who are Datto users, they feel as though Datto is not innovating at all on that. Like, they bought those companies and are letting them sit static and not doing any investment. They're focused on their MSP and recurring revenue they get from it. So they may be something to short sell. I don't know, but don't take stock advice from me, because one, don't take stock advice from me, and two, don't take stock advice from someone who doesn't know anything about stocks, because that's also me. I'm not an expert on this at all. I was just lucky enough to buy some Tesla stock. That's about it. Coffee or tea or both? Both. You are not getting your device to move between two. Turn down the broadcast strength on it until it works. You have them overlap. How did the VPN go? Oh, yeah. I did run that VPN poll on there, and I was shocked at how many people, despite the commentators, where did that poll go? On Twitter. This is something relevant to bring up. So I thought about doing another video on VPNs. People, too many YouTubers sell them, so it creates a problem of everyone thinks they need one. And I want to do an updated video on why you really need a VPN. So I was shocked at the number of people right here that use PIA, because there was so much hate for PIA. And yeah, Tunnel Bear. Some people still use Tunnel Bear. Hey, why not? I might do some more VPN videos. They're really popular. But I don't trust any of the VPN companies, so I've never been a big... Now, you just have to be real about why you need a VPN. You want to get around some country restriction. There's a reason for a VPN. You want to torrent things. The best way simplest way I'll say it. You want to torrent things. You probably want a VPN. You want to hide your browsing from Comcast. That's a dumb reason. Why would you pay money to a company to hide your browsing from Comcast? That seems like a dumb reason. It's hardly a privacy thing at all. Your IP address is not the privacy revealing thing people think it is. It's one of the lesser indicators of things. It's just not, it's not used as heavy of a weight in terms of determining who you are, other than for legal reasons. For privacy reasons, hardly at all. So I want to do kind of a rant on some of that stuff because it's oversold because it's easy to sell. And I've even posted a couple times of how much these VPN companies offer YouTubers, including me, to turn them down. So yeah. This is the dumb argument right here. So it's a good reason. Comcast sucks. Don't give them anything, including your money. So give money to someone else so you can't give Comcast potential data. Okay, you're just giving money to someone else to not give it to Comcast. I guess it's your money. Comcast gets value from the DNS information. They don't get as much value from watching the traffic itself because the traffic itself is encrypted. So knowing what websites you go to, they have to dig out all the SNI headers. And here's the other problem. Comcast has your IP address. And you know how many people are at my house using it? Well, not many right now, but a handful. So they don't distinguish any type of relevant information. They know all the websites that Tom's house went to because I don't use a VPN at home for general web surfing. So what do they glean by that? Well, all these users went to these websites. Okay, who are they selling it to? We have a IP address that uses websites, and as advertisers go, what's their age bracket? What's their demographic? Well, there's a bunch of people living at that address. Oh. Well, we're going to plant a cookie. We're going to use a Facebook tracking cookie and get 90% of the information we need. IP address becomes completely irrelevant, and that's why it doesn't matter. Cloudflare is good, and Quad 9 is good. Yeah, yes, governments in Australia do want metadata capture, so that's a whole different thing. So that's a whole fun stuff. Yeah, DOH solves some of the DNS snooping. Yeah, anytime you're using either encrypted DNH or DOH, either one of those work. But Comcast doesn't, because all they have is a public IP, and even if they gathered up your DNS records and took the time to sniff them, that's not depersonalizing you enough. They need your browser information and the cookies in it. That's how advertisers target you. VPN doesn't stop the advertisers from targeting you. They're like, oh, you just came from a different IP address, but we still have all your session cookies. That's how they're going to identify you. And what happens when you don't have any of the session cookies? That's when they go, oh, we don't know who you are. Those are the things that actually are going to handle your privacy. But if you don't sign into things, then yeah, you can't use things. So you're signing in. That's why you have to have sandboxing per browser. Privacy on the internet is a complex topic, but just the VPNs are so oversold because they're so easy to sell. They're the cost of operating a VPN company, not super high. It's all about sales and customers, and they're very, very profitable companies. And that's why they're willing to pay. I'm talking like sponsored videos from VPN companies are great. The commissions they pay out. Some people make, thousands of dollars every month just in recurring revenue from selling VPN. That's why every YouTuber, even non-technical ones, all sell VPN because it's one of the highest paying ones out there, and they already know their audience. If you're using the internet, you seem to be someone who should be using a VPN as the pitch. So let's see. HashiCorp boundary. Nope, not something I use. Do you think there's any merit to ISP data caps? No. This is Comcast really strong-arming and using their monopoly because streaming service is killing their people buying their service. People want to buy just internet, and Comcast goes, but I have deals. Matter of fact, I got into an argument with the former mayor of a local city because we have a local city that provides internet. He was upset. They have data caps, and their data caps are worse than Comcast, and their prices are higher than Comcast, and they keep Comcast out. And they don't like streaming. Why don't they like streaming? Because he wants everyone to buy his cable service in there. And me and the mayor butted heads over this. We had an argument about it that was funny. And it's because he wants to sell his cable service and all the license. See, they are their own city cable service, so they license content to, not content like streaming content. They license like normal television content that comes through their cable service, like your HBO plans. They want everyone to sign up with the plans and get traditional TV, not streaming services. And so they kept adding caps on their streaming to keep people from using streaming services. And Comcast is doing the same thing. So that's a big mess. Artificially increase profits? No, not artificially, just increase profits. There's nothing artificial about it. It's just, you know, when you can control the profits, when you have a monopoly, you're not artificially doing anything. You're going, how do I make more money with my monopoly? I raise prices. What are they going to do? Switch to someone else? No, there's not another one else. Comcast has a ton of exclusive deals. So, yeah. It works in many other countries without data caps. Matter of fact, Comcast avoids data caps where there's competition. Their rollout of data caps is predatory. And what they do, a predatory pricing model where they only have data caps in areas where they don't have competition. Where they have competition, they don't do data caps. Funny thing. And once they've knocked out competition, they can bring in the data caps again. Yeah, Molvad is interesting. I brought up Molvad in my list because they were one of the few that I seen that have an easy implementation of WireGuard. I still use PIA if I need a VPN for things. And I like PIA because I don't need to use a third-party tool. I use native raw OpenVPN to connect to PIA. So Molvad has no tool needed to connect to WireGuard. They have a clever way they did it to generate keys essentially on the fly. And I thought that was clever. I didn't see anything like that in PIA, but WireGuard is still pretty new. So yes, mobile in the US does have data caps. Data caps are relatively small though with most of the, well, not small, bigger than they used to be, but they're still small if you try to do streaming on them for mobile phones. I'm still on Google Fi. They have data caps, but their data caps they're not bad. They explain them pretty well. Matter of fact, we can... Google offers you 10 gigs or no cap for $70. But there is unlimited data up to 22 gigs per person and slower after. See, this is what I like about Google. They don't hide the fact that after you hit the 22 gig mark, they slow it down. So yes, they do have data caps, but their data cap is 22 gigs. They don't cut you off. They just lowers the speed. It's not really a cap. It's a slowdown after it. So not exactly the same as a cap. So yes, those do exist here. Yeah, PIA has WireGuard, but PIA doesn't offer, that I've seen, and I didn't dig into this, a native tool for WireGuard. They want you to use their tool. One of the problems with WireGuard is it doesn't have username and password, and PIA relies on username and password. So because PIA is username and password, they haven't done a WireGuard integration to convert your password to a key authentication. That I know of. I could be wrong. Suggestions for 4G, 5G, WAN 2. Use whatever you want for 4G, 5G. Use Cradlepoint or whoever makes you happy. I don't have a good suggestion on it. Okay, so they do have some of that in the UK. That's interesting. I have been doing this for 2 hours. What are some other topics we want to dive into before I start babbling? What are the other questions that can fill in some of this here? The AMA part. I think you guys have been doing AMA for a while. You ever wonder what these papers are that are behind me, that there's always something? This is always some stupid thing I have to deal with from the government. This is the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, screwing Tom over again. So these are the things I hate as a business owner that you have to deal with. Basically what they did was they screwed up my workman's comp this time as opposed to my taxes. These are all those little things as business owners you have to deal with, like, why is your workman's comp done? Well, here's the receipt. I paid my workman's comp. Oh, we didn't get a copy of it. And you have to get involved with things and mail it. That's any given moment, there's always something there. And that's like some business owner thing I hate dealing with that I have to deal with over there. I may do some videos about some of the pain of being a business owner that I don't like. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, my friends. Sometimes you got government agencies to deal with. WireGuard, did you see a new Windows client got released with more group policy stuff and admins? Yeah, I thought that was neat. Pancakes or waffles? Ooh, I like both. Waffles, though, are better. The little holes in the waffles hold more butter. And I like butter. Have I ever used a dynamic DNS in a firewall rule? No. Because nobody has changing public IPs. We tell the businesses to spend a couple dollars a month and get a static IP if that's a problem. What's a good way to store snapshots on a Hyper-V? I have no idea. We need more butter. Are we out of butter, honey? It's my wife saying we need butter. I am not going to the store today. There's probably a lot of people there. Coffee, dark, black. Please bring home a couple sticks of butter. No. I am not bringing home butter. I don't have sticks of butter anyways. If you have to wire video camera with Cat 5e, good enough forever. Is there any logic in Cat 6? I don't have any good reason to use Cat 6. Butter's good. I do like the real stuff, so. Fake butter is not as good as real butter. Real butter is amazing. It is something you should not eat a lot of, though. Yeah, I mentioned earlier for Mr. H20SK, I don't really do Hyper-V. Not my thing. Tom will sleep anywhere. I'll sleep on the floor. I'm not picky. I bring home the bacon, but not the bacon sounds really good. I am starving. I've been up since 5 a.m. and it is 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is usually my first eating of the day. Baked cheese is not that good. There's things I like. I actually eat mostly vegetables most of the time. And I don't think making fake versions of things is always all that great, though. Vegetables are fine on their own. We don't need to pretend them to be a vegan replacement. So, oh, someone asked, it's funny that you probably are just hearing it and thinking precognition here. What's your diet like? I mostly eat vegetables. I eat very little meat. It's just the way I eat. So, oh, when is the next vlog of me drinking? Good question. Should I do a second vlog Thursday of Tom at Thanksgiving? Baked cheese is just, yeah. Do you have difficulty running Windows Server in XCP-ng? Because it works great for every Linux server. Windows, I have difficulty. I have filed bugs. Nope, I don't have problems doing it. We have clients that have been running for years on XCP-ng. Matter of fact, we're just building some new 2019 servers. We're migrating them. We finally are shutting down Windows 2003 server for a client. I want to celebrate that project. And they just had some old legacy things that required it. So that ran on XCP-ng. And so in the same physical server stack is their new 2019 server. We're not experiencing problems with it. So whatever your problems are, go post them over in the forums at XCP, not my forums, XCP-ng forums. Matter of fact, we finally, as I mentioned last week, we moved Screen Connect over to a Windows server that runs in XCP-ng perfectly fine. It works. I got no issues with it. It's happily, magically working along. drag this over. Hey, look, there's my Windows Screen Connect server doing Windows Screen Connect server things. So that's the thing. We should back up the wiki, though, because I need to make a backup of that today. When was the last successful backup? Yeah. Yes, because I need to push some updates. There's some more pool updates I need to push, so time to run a backup. Let that run in the background. There we go. Oh, what else we have here? Whether or not you buy directly from UniFi or a reseller depends on how many you want to buy. We buy direct from UniFi sometimes when we buy a one-off and no one else has it. There's a couple things we had to get from UniFi directly. If you are buying, we had to place a $100,000 order for a large project that we bought through a reseller because the reseller actually got us a good deal when we were spending like $100,000. Sometimes when you're spending even $5,000, a reseller can get you a good deal. It really depends on the scale and scope of the project. If it's for one-off items, yeah, buy from UniFi. If it's for larger bulk pricing, and most of your resellers have minimum buy requirements, so it may be decided for you if you only have a small purchase that you're not going to buy it from a reseller, because if you don't meet their minimum purchase, then you can't get it. What's the weirdest this should work but doesn't you've ever seen? I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's a weird... I understand the question, but I'm trying to think of the context for something that should work but doesn't. Microsoft Update, we'll just throw Windows Update because that's something that should work but doesn't. Microsoft is probably my most face-palming moments all the time of why doesn't this just work? How is a company this big and does that? Or even UniFi, we'll throw them under the bus. Why doesn't UniFi have a 5-year-old request to be able to have multiple IPs on the WAN address? Why? You're a company worth a market cap over $10 billion, but you can't make a piece of routing equipment that offers, on your UniFi line, that offers multiple IPs. NFL or NBA, I don't follow any sport ball. I don't watch any sports at all. None. Nothing. I don't have anything against sports. I'm not a sport hater that I think other people shouldn't watch sports, which is a weird... I see that because there's this weird thing where people go, oh, you must hate when people watch sports. No, watch them. I've tried. I actually sat down, I went to a baseball game once, maybe twice in my life. I tried watching sport. I get it, like, functionally, but I just don't... It doesn't grab me to watch it. Olympics, same category. I'm completely back over on Kali. The Parrot project just kind of went off the rails of brokenness. So I don't watch Sport Puck either. No Sport Puck, no Sport Ball, no sports, no Olympics. None of it grabs my attention. This shouldn't work, but doesn't somehow. I'm trying to remember it. I'm sure there's a few times where I've just been puzzled when I've seen something work. It doesn't come to mind exactly what it is. So, oh, Debian all the way. I see. I actually started in Red Hat and moved over. So I moved over from Red Hat to Debian and never looked back. I use Ubuntu and Pop! OS, so those worlds, but those are all based on Debian. So I kind of look at them as all in the same family. Motocross is a sport. Do you watch any racing? No, yes. No, I watch zero official racing things, but there is a sometimes I'll turn on YouTube and type in the impossible hill climbs, and I just like to watch all the bikes try to make it up the hill. So that's kind of fun. Watching impossible hill climbs and motorcycles, that's kind of fun. It's not I guess it's a sport because it looks like it is an event going on. Those are fun to watch. Yeah, we watch fails. Is failing a sport? Servers that only work upside down. Yeah, that's the kind. I've certainly run into that over time. I have no insight to when something gets released from UniFi. None at all. How much tech you have in your home life? Plex, Home Assistant? Pretty much Plex. That's it. I can't think of beyond Plex anything I have. That's it. There is no home automation. I brought this up. Let me switch to the screen real quick and I'll pull the photo up. I recently did this. So this is some upgrades I did, put lighting in my kitchen. And please note, none of this was done. This is what my kitchen looks like now, but none of it was done with any type of home automation. That's completely on purpose. That's because I don't care about turning the lights on and off with some type of home automation. It just doesn't interest me. So I don't use any of that. I'm getting 0 customer requests for Wi-Fi 6. I get YouTube people asking me about Wi-Fi 6. There's such an interesting difference between what my customers who pay me money for services ask for and comments and people on YouTube. Maybe we have the wrong customers, but most of them go, Wi-Fi is working. That's as much as they care. They're not trying to get the most speed out of it because that's rarely is Wi-Fi where their speed limit is. Wi-Fi isn't the problem. They usually want faster internet if they're having a problem. But it's not because the Wi-Fi isn't fast enough. It's because the pipe coming into their building isn't. So I got a Pixel 4 XL. That's my phone of choice. Not public. Thank you for the $9.99 donation. It is greatly appreciated. No, I don't use the apt cache or NG. I know I'm familiar with it, but I've just never. There's not so many. We're never updating so many servers at once that it's that big of a deal. Maybe one day, I don't know. There's no data caps right now, so that's why I don't care. Linux updates are generally really small. That's another reason I don't do it. We're not doing enough large Linux updates that matters. The updates that need to be done are generally tiny, a few megabytes. So caching a few megabytes of data hardly seems worth setting up a separate server just to cache those things. Yeah, people, there's the controversy, and it's oversimplified to say it works the way it does, but like the Amazon Street thing and people complaining about it. And I was like, I don't put any of those listening devices in my house. That's kind of how you avoid those problems. I just don't need them. I don't mind turning off a light switch. Maybe it actually is probably because of having so much technology in my life. I'm happy to go home and not be around certain amounts of technology. So. Can you run a Debian VM and then free PBX with 16 gigs? Sure. Seems reasonable. Yes. YouTube is where all the enthusiasts are. Business cares all day, every day about stable. Stable, stable, stable. Can't go down, can't die. I have work to get done. I don't need it faster. I need it work. We I'm doing some consulting and talking a little bit about a customer who they're going to be building out a fulfillment area, and they wanted to do Wi-Fi. I suggested not to, but they cared more about reliable, not speed. The only thing they have to do is get to a basic internal web portal that they wrote where people grab the items and check them in on a scan gun. They're talking kilobytes, not even megabytes, kilobytes of data, tiny amounts of data. They don't need Wi-Fi 6 for that. They need reliable Wi-Fi. That's what matters to them. Yeah, you can run your own repo as well. Like you said, it's more trouble than it's worth. It adds complexity that I feel is unneeded to own your own repo where you pull all the updates and then you can point the other servers to it. It's something that if you're running at a data center, cool, do it. If you're not running a data center, why would you do it? My DigitalOcean, for example, those run with their own, they pull, I believe, from a DigitalOcean mirror. That way they don't have to traverse the internet to get their updates, which is fine. Yeah, the new Chromecast is neat. I do have, I bought that for my dad. So that's, yeah. Yes, I have a video on zero-tier, Kali Linux, and Raspberry Pi as a jump point for clients. I've done 2 different videos on that. So you type in Kali or Raspberry Pi, you'll find those on my channel. Yeah, I mean, like you said, apt caching works well if you have a bunch of large updates. I don't. I don't have a, if I have 100 machines I'm updating, that's different. You know what I don't have? 100 machines that are updating. You would have to set up load balancing. And pfSense and CARP is for HA, not for dual WAN. I see someone asking about a dual WAN bridge. CARP is not the right tool for that. You can run UniFi Protect on the Google TV Chromecast. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah. The DigitalOcean's great. Yeah, I need to buy 100 machines and up them. Yeah, A show called Andromeda. Have not watched it. Can add it to things I'll look up. I like movies. I like sci-fi, but not everything I watch is sci-fi. Matter of fact, movie I watched recently is called... This movie was really good. I just watched this the other day. I liked it. I'm also a fan because I like some of the stuff done by Guy Ritchie, including Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch are a couple of my favorite movies Guy Ritchie did. And he also did The Gentleman. Solid. Really solid movie. He's an English film director, so that'll help make my English people happy. What else did he do? He did a bunch of movies. What other ones did I like that he did? And he's involved in more things than I thought. I just know which movies I've watched and I do like that he did. So, been involved in a lot of stuff. I'll have to look up Andromeda. Do you want to buy a caravan? Do you like dogs? Dogs. Do you like dogs? Well, there are so many great quotes from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That is great. That one is that's a very quotable movie, I will admit. There's so many great scenes. I want to rewatch that one. That's a good movie. Maybe that's what I'll do today is watch a couple movies. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels seems like a good one. Do you like dogs? Farscape. Well, I haven't seen that in a long time. And for those wondering, this is where I sit and watch movies. My wife's got it all Christmas decorated, but I'm working on the video for this. The previous videos I show where there's a hole in the wall right here. We had to rerun cables, reroute them, and put things together properly. But this is an all Klipsch system with a Pioneer Elite drivers and Klipsch all the way around, rear speakers and front speakers. I don't know if there's enough demand for me to do this. This is my home electronics. Like, it's not about automation to me. It's about, having good sound quality and things like that. Yes, and the wife did a great patch job on it. Actually, we find somewhere, I think I got a video. I posted it somewhere about how she patched it. So this is a close-up of the patch. And you can't really see it. I zoom in. I had to take a couple of pictures, and this is the one picture where if you look close enough, there's a light at a steep angle coming in from the window to be able to see it. You can't see it head on. Matter of fact, you can barely see it until I zoomed in. This is window light that's sunlight to even create that shadow on there. So yeah, is there another picture I have of it somewhere? Go back to even this one here. From a head on, you can't see it. It takes window light to even know where the patch really is. It's really, really hard to see. Oh, let's see. No 8K projector. Nope. No interest in an 8K projector. I have a 4K TV I'm happy with. So hey, I'm glad that me and Crosstalk have been helpful. That's what I like to hear. I like when people dive into and learn a lot from all this stuff. That's what makes me really happy from all this YouTube stuff that I do, is when I hear that people learn. There's one of I'll see if he wants to do a video with me or something. I have a recent friend. He's probably not watching this particular live stream, but he watched a lot of my videos when he was making a career change. He didn't even know I was local. He watched my videos. It got him into cybersecurity. He then went and got some certifications and now has a well over 6-figure paying job in cybersecurity. And he ran into me at Home Depot. He's like, "Hey, Tom." I'm like, "Hi." And we started talking. We ended up being friends. He lives locally, and it's kind of a cool success story. He says, "Hey, your videos are really helpful." And I was like, "Well, that's cool." And now we become friends. And I like hearing when people have learned a lot, have helped their careers, have helped them get into a cybersecurity when they thought it was hard, or just into technology in general, and kind of find their way. We need more people in this market, and that is huge. Do you have snow at Christmas? Sometimes we have snow. It's not all the time that we have snow, but we do get snow here in Christmas. It just varies from year to year. Matter of fact, I think it was last year we actually had a little bit more ice and snow. Let me find a picture. This is... This was last Christmas. This is northern Michigan, and me and the wife went up north, and there's plenty of snow up there. This is, we might do that again. I'm saying it here because I know she's listening, but we might do this again and go back up north. We wander around. This is actually a frozen lake up there, but there's a decent amount of snow. I think I got another picture to show just how much snow there was. Actually, and why we went up there, and I can share these pictures. We went up there to go do... in person is different than watching it not in person, which is watching the cars race around, which was kind of fun. There was a rally car race up there. We just went because, why not? It's kind of fun watching rally cars. Because ultimately, you want to watch a rally car when they slide off the road right there, because that's what rally car racing is really about. Watching them slide off and watching them go around the track. So pretty cool stuff. Oops. Wrong screen switch. There we go. I'm still using Huntress, yes. Huntress is an EDR system. It just notifies you if something is found. Let's see. So yes, we still use Huntress. Basically, they are notifications for something's found. They're not an active, not as much an active model. They're not there to stop it. They're there to notify you. To us, we look at them as like a safety net. Hopefully that makes sense. What else do we have here? Smash the like button, bash the like button. Eventually I do have to wander off because I do have a few things to go accomplish today. All right. Endless SSH. Nope, never heard of it. What is Endless SSH? Oh, it's a tar pit. Tar pits are fine. I've never done much videos on them. They're novel. I guess they slow things down. I don't know. I mean, I know what they do. I know functionally what a tar pit is, but my wife says I have to buy butter. Yeah, the Snowdrift Rally. That was fun. So sometimes, no, I don't listen to her. Something butter. I don't think we have any real butter. If we had real butter at the office, I'd bring it home. I don't think we have any real butter here at the office. We might. There's a chance. I don't know what's in there. My staff buys food and puts it in there because we cook a lot here. Why would I need Huntress if you're using Sentinel-1? That's a great question that a lot of people ask. And fun story. This video will answer that question. Emotet threat defense with Sentinel-1 and Huntress. Sentinel-1 missed something. Huntress caught it. So that was why I made a video about that. So why do you need them? You're playing games with who has the best threat hunting team. That's all there is to it. Is Sentinel-1 better than Huntress? That is not simple, yes, no answer. You're asking who has the best threat hunting team. I think Huntress does. And Huntress has found, in one instance, something that could have been a disaster. So all the money I spent with Huntress was completely justified by stopping and notifying us of a disaster and shutting down a machine because Sentinel-1 seemed to let something execute. This got the attention of the Sentinel-1 engineers, and they wanted to pull samples. They were very helpful, but everything is a cat and mouse game, so Huntress, to me, is an extra safety net. Now, you can go, I'm not spending the money. I don't think it's worth it. Then that's fine. Do that. Then this is just about the layers of defense. I think the team at Huntress is really, really talented. I think they do a lot for the security community. I think their product's worth having. You may go, I'm not spending extra money, and that's fine too. So it is somewhat redundant, but their tiny and small footprint and the way their system works makes me very happy. Oh, has the pandemic had an effect on my job? We're busier, but we're also busier for a multitude of reasons. We delivered a lot of our services remotely. So yes, there's some challenges. We have clients that were greatly adversely affected by this that worked in the entertainment industry. So the downside is those clients aren't really clients because they closed. And the upside is the fact that we're all really, really busy because there's a bigger push for technology. So technology is how everyone's staying connected, and getting people set up remotely generated a lot of busy work and a lot of work for us. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. So hopefully that makes sense. A few more bashes on that like button before I wind all this down. So I do have a couple things I will get done before I go back home today and do whatever it is I'm going to do. I don't know what that is yet. I haven't figured it out. Will Corey do another cabling video? Maybe. That is really challenging because it requires me going on site, and kind of go back to the other person's question. Going on site's harder because of social distancing and everything else. We want to minimize things. So it's been harder. Corey doesn't care at all about videos. Corey only cares about working. So that's why we don't do a bunch of videos together. He doesn't like playing with cameras. It's also difficult because I had a good discussion with a few friends. People ask me why I don't do a lot more cabling videos. I'm like, because one cabling video may require 20 hours or 30 hours of my time to produce. That's why I don't do a lot of cabling videos. They are just a lot to produce. There's no easy way to make them. And it just pulls, I don't pull cable, so it's not like I'm there anyways. I have to take time out of my day to go there and stop doing other things. That's why it's so hard to do the cabling videos. There's all these assumptions that I'm pulling cable. Corey's pulling cable. Tom's doing something else. I have never in my 25 years in tech enjoyed pulling cable or putting ends on network adapters. Not my thing. People really get into it. People really enjoy it. We do a lot of it. I do not do any of it. My company does a lot of it. I mean, we buy thousands and thousands of feet of cable and install drops all over the place. We're busy doing it. It is a sizable part of our company. It is not something Tom does, though. Yeah, hire another person to shoot it. Then that would definitely... Here's where it becomes a challenge to pay for it. It's not... It makes for in-demand YouTube content, but it's just fun for people to watch. It doesn't really convert to any dollars at all. Therefore, it's kind of like I just spend money on it because it makes some people happy. It doesn't have a return on investment. So it's something I consider. I don't know. It's something I'll think about doing more of. I want to do more of it because I do enjoy teaching people how to do it right. But it's also not anything that really makes money. So it just becomes a huge amount of labor to teach people how to put a cable on right versus... I like teaching more in-depth VPN and more technical things. That's where my heart and passion more is. Because I don't do the cabling. That's the problem. I'm teaching you, but I'm also learning at the same time, which has its merits, but yeah. Marketing budget, yes. But marketing for what? What's the end result other than some people learning a few things about cabling? And most of the time, they just want to know how we install the cable. It's all when you're looking at like the PC build videos. It's all about how pretty can we make it, and how many lights can we stick in it. And by the way, if you watch a lot of those, all the different hardware channels, they make their money by a bunch of affiliate links about those products. And they're usually, there's a lot of money being paid to those people to produce those videos about those products. Maybe I can find a cabling sponsor to actually pay for the video, and that would be great. If I did drum up some sponsorship, that would be very different. And then we win all the way, best of both worlds. They pay for the video, we use their product. We're using their product anyways, and sometimes, so yeah. Does the crimp tool matter for RJ45, or can you just buy the cheapest one on Amazon? I'm going to let the cabling people answer. I've been meeting with, if you don't know who Low Voltage Nation is, I'm going to be on their podcast, the Low Voltage Nation podcast, and I'm actually going to be doing some work with them directly to produce some cabling videos. So yes, there are some plans for it. I am actually working on this. It's just figuring out the best way to do it is hard. I have zero interest in setting up WireGuard on pfSense because it is a user space implementation. There's instructions you can find on how to do it. I'm waiting until it's in the BSD kernel. So don't buy the cheapo ones is a mixed bag. You can get away with using some of the cheap tools if you're only using them to do some home stuff and it's a one-off. If you're wanting to do it for a career, buying the better tools makes the most sense. I don't think the cabling videos don't convert customers that much. They're not the videos that convert, so. Yeah, the small money you save as soon as you have a bad crimp. That's probably a good way to describe it. If you do it professionally, that's different. If you're doing like 10 ends in your house, buying a real expensive tool may not be the best investment because there are only a handful of ends in your house. You know what I mean? That's kind of you look at it. So yeah, the BSD implementation that is used by OpenSense is a user space implementation of WireGuard before someone I can't believe someone didn't post, but OpenSense has WireGuard, because that is a comment that is all over my YouTube channel. Commercial sites are way easier than residential sites. That is for sure. As a matter of fact, we get a lot of residential calls, and we have at least one angry person who called the other day who sent us a message that I won't be using your services that you don't provide. He was mad that we wouldn't come out to his house to wire things. We told him what we charge, and he thought it was also ridiculous. And his review was, I won't be using your services to residential wire my house. I'm like, okay, we don't do that. So he was mad that whoever he called told him we don't do it, and it seemed upsetting to this person. Yeah, we stay away from residential wiring. It's way harder. It's more work. It's more expensive. Commercial buildings are easier to wire than residential ones. Therefore, they cost less to wire. People they don't understand that. It's way more work, and residential people think they're going to get a deal. I usually just bounce them over to calling an electrician and go from there. But they never like the price. It's generally it's a niche market. It's not that you can't make money in that market. You have to niche into the right clientele that don't, basically the wealthy people. If you have I know some people that I've talked to in that market, they cater to and have an A list of millionaires who have mansions that they do cabling and wiring for. Those are great clientele. Once you get in a niche, and some of them people are like, money doesn't matter, we just need this stuff to work. Those are great people. So but affordable is a very subjective. What's affordable to one person is not affordable to another. And of course that varies dramatically by area. It's a more complex topic. A lot of people avoid if you do a lot of commercial, because residential is different, you either learn and manage the differences of dealing with residential and how you have to handle it and making sure you curate the right clientele, or you just don't do it. And we're busy with the commercial. I don't want to add the residential space. If some company that did residential wanted me to buy them and they had expertise in it and needed me that, maybe that's a different type of option. I'll get back into it. But I have no current plans to build the residential market. It's not my interest. Yeah, a perfect example is the photos that I had pulled up where I had to patch, or my wife patched a hole in a wall. Those holes in a wall and patching is not something you really have to deal with much in the commercial market. It just doesn't come up as much. It's par for the course for how you deal with residential. You're always doing patching, mudding, and drywall. That's one of these extra things that you have to charge for. So I can't charge you just for the cabling drop like I do in commercial, which is easy to do pricing on. It's like, oh, we got to get in the wall. Oh, you have insulation in the wall. Oh, someone blew in insulation. Oh, someone stuck foam insulation in the wall. These are all, yes, the extras that you run into with residential. Or, oh, you want us to crawl in a crawl space. Oh, okay. Because that's the only way to get the wire from underneath up, and you got to crawl in a dirty crawl space. Yeah, businesses, crawl space, usually not an issue. Most businesses are built very differently. So, with the exception of businesses that moved into houses. So it's not like we haven't seen that. So, that one back to, we'll turn down some of those jobs. We had someone who was in a house. We looked at it and we're like, yeah, this is not a job we want to do. They basically bought a big house and turned it into a law office, and they wanted us to deal with the plaster walls and everything else. Like, no, we don't deal with plaster walls that we can't get into. We can't wire it that way. So, yeah, going around heating elements and chimneys and all that fun stuff. Lots of fun challenges with residential. Well, I'm going to wind this down. It's at 2 hours and 48 minutes. This is probably one of the longest live streams I've done in a long time. So thank you for everyone who joined me and hung out for this long. Bash that like button. I don't know who's going to watch this in post, because, man, that's a lot of hours of watching, but someone may watch it. I always find it interesting because people comment on things I said like 2 hours in. I'm like, wow, someone took the time to watch 2 hours into this. That's a lot. And, but I will be cranking out some more videos and blah, 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 something. What else did I have in mind? After I talk this much, I get tongue-tied because I've just said so much. Whenever they come out, I might review the UniFi Wi-Fi 6. Those questions come up at least once an hour. So I have some server updates I'll probably push. I don't know. I don't have family coming over till later, so I'll ask my wife when family's coming over. I don't want to go to the store and buy butter. I love the nerd talk. Yes. Update to the new PF blocker. Definitely go do that. Use whatever NIC you want. Intel generally I found worked the best. So other than that, post in my forums. That's why I have them. So any plan for a PF Sense series? I have a PF Sense series. I don't know what you're missing out of. I even did a 2021, so it's only a few months old. So I don't know what you want out of that. PF Sense series is forever and ongoing. I have so many videos on PF sensors, probably 50 of them on my channel. Put them. They're in a playlist, I believe, too. So, anyways. Let's see. Does posting in the forums help my website SEO? Nope. It's just an easy way to deal with when so many people have questions. Forums is really just about me answering questions, and so people who repeatedly ask the same question all the time, that's what my forums are for. Matter of fact, when you start posting in the forums, you realize many of the questions you may come to ask are commonly answered in the forums. So the forums is a way to help answer questions and consolidate information. It has really zero to do with SEO. The only fun thing about my forums where it has something to do with SEO is people searching for questions find the answer in my forums. Google does index my forums, so there is an SEO position, not as a trying to get people to my website, but trying to get people a solution. SEO is maybe a byproduct. It's mostly like, how do I set this setting in this feature? And they find my forums, so it's kind of a byproduct. It answers the question. And by the way, my forums don't really have a bunch of ads on them. At this time, I'm not really monetizing them, so they're just there. The way I monetize my forums is they run in DigitalOcean. I have an offer code for DigitalOcean. You guys pick the DigitalOcean offer code, and the only money you get from a DigitalOcean offer code is server time. That's how I pay for all the server time and workload of the server. So it's kind of a full circle. I run the forums, the people clicking on the DigitalOcean offer buy server time that then puts money back into keeping the forums so they don't cost me money. That's the full circle of life that is that. And on that note, I will end this. Thank you all for joining. There was at one time over 200 of you. It is greatly appreciated as always. Thank you for everyone that threw some revenue at me. And I'll consider the Twitch thing too, because maybe I'll do that from home and just when I work on projects and something I can talk about, maybe I don't know. I have no idea if it's a good idea or a bad idea. But hey, see you guys later. Have fun. Happy Thanksgiving.